Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck to Sim live stream. Today it's the 28th of April 2021, 4 minutes past 5 here in the evening. Back in Explain 11, where we were last stream. Just about recovered from our 9.5 hour sector or stream from Dublin to Washington Dulles last Saturday. And we're back now in more familiar territory, the ZIBO MOD 737, on a nice little short sector. We're in Sweden today. We're going to be going from Stockholm Skavsta, Jokbing, all the way to Aberdeen. Flight time around 1 hour 35 minutes, 1 hour 40. This evening in Aberdeen, it's the VATSIM UK's overload event. So no doubt some holding and some disruption as the aircraft come in all sorts of directions into this tiny little airport. First ever time actually flying into Aberdeen as well. Weather's certainly not quite as nice as it is here in Skavsta, that's for sure. Lots of rain forecast there. Jonathan Price, I think, is already a member, so I think that might be a renewal or welcome back for another month. Thank you very much, and thank you for the continued support as ever to all the members there. So yes, nicely back in the ZIBO MOD 737 348 version 2. I did a quick test sector earlier. I didn't have time to do the entire flight. All seems to be well. There seems to be some format issues with the FMS though. For example, the legs page, I was saying to ZIBO that there's some additional lines missing. Nothing that's going to affect the functionality of the FMS, but just the display of it, it's changed. I think that's to do with the implementation of the upcoming Route 2 function. So we'll have a look at that later on anyway. But it's great to see a lot of people here. Oscar says, ever flown to Jokbing in real life? I haven't. Michael B says, hello everyone, good day to you. Jordan Cornish says, good morning from Canada. Very good morning from Canada. That's fantastic. Lauren says, this is a strange looking Airbus. I've just about recovered there. But Lauren, thank you very much for all the tips on Saturday. It was very useful from a lot of people there. Learned lots about the A321, which is great. Jacob Lust is here. John Padfield, hope you're doing well, buddy. Samuel Butler. Kit My Cats is here. Well, hello. They're playing a lot of Valorant at the moment, Mariana, and all these people. So it's great to have some of them having a break from Valorant. My goodness, look how many people have joined as well for this sector. We've even got an EasyJet here. We've got Alpaca Airways galore. 737s, Airbus 737s, another Airbus. Still the ratio's a little bit wrong there. And here we are in the beautiful Boeing 737 Alpaca Airways livery by Jordan. Completely cold and dark. I've done nothing to the setup. We're going to do a full setup from cold and dark today. And yeah, it's going to be a nice little flight. Going to be nice to get back into mod, do some more 737 flying, because it was the last time I flew the 737. It was the members group flight, last public stream for this one. It was a 2-sector day. I think it's been a while since we've done one of those, so it's nice to be back in here. A lot of people are asking me, are you going to be flying the BAE 146 from Just Fly? I think it was released after. Yes, I am. I need to get it installed and have a look at it. It'll probably be coming up to the next few days or so. ZIBO is that. I think, guys, that ZIBO that you see in chat is the real ZIBO. How cool is that? FMC looks as in real plane, FMC of Route 2 legs, so you can see FMC without Route 2 legs, see option EFB. ZIBO, we have Route 2 at my operator, and I'm pretty sure we still get 4 or 5 legs, so I'll double check that, but thank you very much for the heads up. It's been a while since I've had a look at the FMS in a real aircraft, to be fair, but amazing that the real ZIBO is actually here. Laura says, I'm taking the XLR on several max range long haul flights, getting to know it well, finding it once plus 1500 on the altitude as well as minus 17 on fuel burn to get everything most optimal. It's exactly what fuel bias I used last sector. Right, anyway, let's jump into the ZIBO mod and get the show on the road here. So batteries on, GPUs on the bus. Let's get the electric hydraulic pumps on. Landing gear lever, we have 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 green lights. We then check all the aircraft documentation and the ship's library. So let's do the fault and fire tests. So 3 squib lights, fault APU detector in op, fire, 3 fire warning lights, engine overheat light, wheel well light, and there is the fire light as well. And emergency exit lights we can arm. Let's have a look for our sector today. So here's our operational flight plan straight from SimBrief. A few CBs around Aberdeen, so if I was flying there in real life, probably take an extra 30 minutes of fuel to incorporate any potential delays and potential thunderstorms. We'll also take a little bit of smidgen extra due to the fact it's an overload event, so I'm planning an extra 45 minutes of fuel for this sector. So that would be 7 tonnes I'd usually call for. I'm going to go for 8.8 tonnes. That's 1.8 tonnes extra, 45 minutes flight time. So let's go to the fuel page. 8.8 tonnes. That is in 0 fuel weight. I'm going to take 168 passengers on the inaugural Sweden-Aberdeen service. There we are. That is executed. That's going to be giving us a 0 fuel weight of 57.3. Should come up here any second. There we are, 57,223, so 57.3 is there. Finley, any update on the CPDLC for ZIBO? He's around, so you can ask him. I don't know if it's had any more features added. We only have sort of like basic A cars, but no idea when CPDLC will be implemented, I'm afraid. Hopefully it'll be around as well. Martina says, can you please stream a flight in the Antonov AN225, please? I don't know if there's a realistic one for X-Plane 11 available. There might be a bit of a fun arcadey version, but we'll probably not fly that. It's something. It's about time we got the Tupolev out again as well. A lot of people have been requesting that. Cool. So, let's call for the fuel. I always forget to do that. There we are, call for the fuel truck, and we have 6.2 tonnes of fuel already on board. Whoever flew it last left plenty of fuel in the tanks. Hi Tim, hope you're doing well. He says all good over this side of the water, bud. Hope you're well. He's saying to Anthony, here's Anthony as well. Hope you're both doing very well. Doctor on board says call the fuel truck. Thank you very much. You saw already. I managed to remember it this time at least. Seatbelt sign won't turn on just yet because we need to wait until the fueling's done. Test the 10 button. Flaps are up, matching the flap indicator position. Trim will set later. Nav. The stab trim cutout switches are in the normal position. Cargo fire test coming up. Forward aft discharge, 2 green lights, and there's the fire warning lights. Standby in 2000. Rudder and aileron trim we check. Stab trim's in the normal position. Manual gear extension doors closed. Circuit breakers are all in. Making our way up here on the overhead panel. Stall warning test. We need to wait a little bit longer for that. There's the Mackie speed warning test. IRS to nav, that's going to take us 6-7 minutes, or 9 minutes in this latitude. Circuit breakers are in, and we can now start the boarding. Creature 002, thank you very much for the £2 buddy. I saw your VATSIMing in Malta just before the start of the stream. I hope you enjoy that this afternoon. It says, hi Skipper, hope all is well. Feeling lonely in Malta Tower. We'll soon hop over to East Midlands, got the visiting tower status this week. And sure as hell, I think he said to say, it won't be this peaceful over there. Best regards to all. Thank you very much, Creature 002. Yes, it can be a little bit busier in the UK, and no doubt we'll pop into Malta for another stream soon. I think it's been years. I think one of my first ever streams was into Malta, but I've not been there since, so we'll definitely look at flying into Malta again. We did a members group flight there once as well. Byron, where's it? What's this? A real aeroplane ripped to the trade table? I know this is a proper aeroplane today. Jason, how many tons of kilts are you bringing to Aberdeen? Yes, that's what's in the cargo hold. Kilts. Unbelievable. And haggis, yes, all stereotypical products of Scotland. Right, let's see. Oh, we actually have Tower online. That's pretty cool. Well, I'll get the Metar for now, guys. There's no ATIS online at the moment in Skavsta. Let's have a look here at the weather event. So right now, clear skies, 6 degrees. QNH is 1013. Surface wind is 140 at 10 knots. So hopefully we'll get runway 26 for departure. It's a little bit of a tailwind though, but that would be a much more preferential departure here. If you look, I've never been to this airport, but if you have a look here, runway 26 is a very short taxi for us, which will be great and beneficial. If it's runway 08, you have to go all the way back here and backtrack, which is an absolute shame. Well, there's BBC breaking news. Yes, Flight Deck to Sim is live streaming. Brilliant. There's runway 08, so we're going to have to backtrack if 08's in departure. This taxiway here, as you can imagine, is only suitable for microlights or similar sized aircraft. So, yes, I should hope 26 is in use with a tailwind. You can accept onto a 10-knot tailwind for departure in the 737, and we'll depart off 26 instead of having to go all the way here backtracking for runway 08, because there's quite a lot of people here. Hopefully they'll allow us to use for tailwind, and we'll request it for departure there anyway. Guru K says, hi Captain, doesn't what was that? Sorry, that was scrolling away here. Hi Captain, did I miss much right? I think he's saying, no, we've just started, Guru. We've just started.
50,
so, you're right on top of
30,
it here at the moment.
20,
thank you very
10.
much, Dominic Orsini, for the $5.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Hello.
Greetings from New England, and it feels good to be back on board the VCP ZIBO MOD.
The ZIBO MOD. We should start a song. Thank you very much, Dominic, for the $5. Very kind. It is sure nice to be back in more familiar territory. I can't believe I just did that. I was going to start singing ZIBO mod. Thanks for the $5. Great to hear you coming in from New England as well. Good morning to you, Dominic. Thank you for the continued support. Very kind of you. Martinia, what's on the menu for this sector? Well, haggis and tatties. That's what we've got in the on the menu today. Brilliant. Jason and says, hi Captain, will we need digital COVID passport for future flights? Great question. Not sure, certainly in Europe, what they're going to be implementing, with different countries having different rules. There's talk of a electronic COVID passport, and then there's all the discrimination associated with that, because the younger generation are having to wait for their jab. So all sorts of things could possibly happen in Europe. I'm glad to see in the US things are really picking up travel-wise. But still, here in Europe, I haven't got any flights on my roster at the moment. No scheduled flights coming up within the next month. Hopefully, we'll get some movement in the next few months. So that'll be very, very grateful for that. As I'm sure many of you all will be as well, to get travelling, or whoever works in the industry too. Right, QNH 1013 is set. MFRA is 1160, indicating 160 feet. The elevation here is 142, so it's a slight discrepancy around 20 feet. That's okay. QNH is set there as well. We'll turn up the panel lighting here. And it's now time to load up the flight management computer. So FMC, latest AirAC is installed, 2104. POS init page. We're in Echo Sierra Kilo November. And we'll take GPS left. We're going to Aberdeen, which is Echo Golf Papa Delta. Call sign today is Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, which is selected. Departing here, fingers crossed. We'll put runway 26. I'm going to request it if, for whatever reason, they want us to fly into the headwind. We'll select the other runway, but they should be accommodating for the fact that, it's going to be a lot easier for us to depart on 26. It's going to be the Tonsa 3 Lima for 26, or the 2 Kilo off 08. And from Tonsa, it's going to be directed at Torp VOR, which is Tor. Checking the coordinates, that's the closest. Zulu 132 to Olmug. And Olmug, Mike 125 to Zola. Which is near Stavanger, I think. Papa 600 to Clon. We're now over the North Sea. And Upper Papa 600 to Lesney. And from the west into Aberdeen, there's no arrivals. Okay, so I've just modified the flight plan to just route direct to a waypoint on the extended centre line. No doubt ATC will stick us in some sort of hold to the east if it's going to be busy, based on
30,
previous VATSIM events. That's very, very likely. Thanks, Banksy Music 2021 for the £5. Very kind.
I've been watching you since lockdown.
Oh.
I love your content and Alpaca on. From Banksy Music.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much, Banksy Music, for the £5. Very, very kind. And we'll continue rocking on over here. Very, very kind. Cheers, Banksy Music. And thank you very much, Mark Jackson, for the £5.
Why do pilots never keep auto thrust engaged on the 737 when landing like on the Airbus?
Excellent question, Mark Jackson. That's because this is a proper airplane, so when you want to hand fly it, you want to take everything off. Now, on the 737, Boeing recommend that when you're hand flying, that you have the auto throttle disconnected. The only exception to that is during the takeoff and the go around, where you can use the auto throttle if already engaged to assist with you. That's why I have the auto throttle engaged for takeoff. When you're hand flying, Boeing say, apart from those situations, you should have the auto throttle disconnected. Now, the auto throttle on the 737 is pretty good, but in gusty, windy conditions, you are often having to override it anyway. Not that that's the reason why we disconnect it, Boeing want us to hand fly it, but often when it's very gusty, what we do is actually disconnect the auto throttle and just make the thrust movements ourselves. The auto throttle on the 737 isn't quite adapt and quick enough in kind of 20-30 knot gusting winds. I mean, the strongest winds I've flown is 50 knots on the nose, 50 knot headwinds, gusting up to kind of like 55, and it is not easy. It's really tricky in those situations, and you're having to often, I wouldn't say fight it, but making sure to keep your speed in limits to make those positive thrust changes, but try to keep it also in around your target N1 as well. Don't want to be adding and taking off all the time. Now, I learnt on the Airbus that last weekend that there's a function when you have it in managed speed, when you have the window pushed on final approach, called GS Mini. So basically it'll automatically change your speed based off your wind changes. I was aware of that, but I've got a friend who operates the A320, and he said no, you can use that function, but a lot of us, we actually have the speed window open, and then we can always order, or we can always disengage the other throttle as well. But he's ex-Boeing, this guy, so he's probably missing the 737. But anyway, thanks a lot for your donation there, Mark. I hope that question was detailed enough. Right, anyway, ILS-34 via the Downey transition, which takes us onto the extended centre line. Now, Downey and Alpha Tango Foxtrot that you see at 0 miles, that's because they're co-located. So what I'm going to do is just delete both Alpha Tango Foxtrot and Downey towards the centre fix. And you'll see here, if I go to plan, we should have everything joined up quite nicely. From Downey, we're probably not going to route direct like this. We're going to get vectors or holding before that. But that takes us onto a final onto runway 34, which is all good for now. Perfect. So FMS routing is loaded. We can activate and execute. And there's a gross error check. Let's just check that ground distance, which is 647. Go to the progress page. We have 639. That's good enough with the adjustments we've made on the flight plan. At least it's the right airport. Nicholas, ATIS is now online. Thank you very much. I can see that, Nicholas F. And I think you're actually the tower controller. Let me have a look here. Or maybe it's not you, but you've got a similar name. I've just got the ATIS on text. Thank you very much. He says Skavsta. They are using runway 08, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll accept that. We can request. Well, in real life, even if the runway 08 is in use, you can still request another runway. But surface wind's 140 at 10 knots, so if it's runway 26 with a 140 at 10 knots, that's going to be around a 5 or 6 knot tailwind. Temperature 6, dew point 2, QNH is minus 2. Dew point's minus 2, QNH is 1013. If it's minus 2, we're on Mars. Right, 0 fuel weight, 57.2 is set. Look at this, I've got all my 4 alternates now on the Simbury flight plan, just like we had to have it by operator. We're planning for our first commercial alternate to divert to of Edinburgh. If we needed to, or the risk of diversion was high, we'd make sure we have fuel for the furthest alternate, which is Newcastle. But I'm happy to take Edinburgh reserves today, which is 2.3 tonnes. So 2.3 tonnes is in. Cost index is 30. We're cruising at 38,000 feet today, which is executed. Let's have a look here on the overhead panel. 38,000 feet, and the elevation of Aberdeen is around 200 feet. So that's all set. Top of climb wind, that's 282 at 32 knots. That is set. Top of climb ISA, +3. Performance I don't have the data for, so I'm going to go full 22k. Oops, I forgot to execute the performance there as well. M1 limit, that's what I want. Perfect, execute. So full 22k today. If it's full length for 08, or we can take the Bravo intersection for runway 26, that's all good. And take off flat 5. And fueling is done, 8.7. CG is 20.8, 6 units of trim. And the V speeds are 39, 40, 46. And all set for 46 on the MCP. Perfect. Laura had to request in real life close runway 10 at Rio, performance reasons for takeoff. Very interesting. I think you're having a conversation with someone about an Airbus flight. Will says Robert Downey Jr. Very good. Nicholas said about the ATIS online as well. Martina says, come on, just switch to Airbus and give up. Unbelievable. Leave the 737 to Jim. Unbelievable again. Yes, 8 dislikes on the video. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling I've got an admirer, ladies and gentlemen, because I checked the stream about 2 hours ago. I had no dislikes, and all of a sudden I had 8. So, and I also had people creating multiple accounts this morning, commenting on me. So, my admirer, if you're watching, love you too. Thanks. Unbelievable. Right, your dampers on, nav transfer, display switch is normal auto, fuel. We've got a ton in the centre tank, so we're going to put all 6 pumps on. We've got 900 kilos. Check the cross-feed valve. Bright, dim. Bright and off. They're all on. All looking good here. Seatbelt signs on. Test the intent button, which we've already done, to be fair. Window heat is on. Engine anti-ice not required. Trim air on. Packs auto, and pressurization motor selectors in auto. This can come to steady. So runway QDM here in Skavsta is 257 degrees. I'm going to leave the courses for 257 as well. I don't have the SID stop altitude, so I'm just going to set something like 14.1 for now. When we get our clearance, we'll confirm our flight level. Flight directors are on. Order brakes to RTO. We'll reset the fuel flow. That's all looking good. That's all set there. Trim is done. And frequencies for the SID. It was an RNAV SID, but what I'm going to do is dial up the ILS frequency of 1119 both sides, which we do have. That's right, when I tested earlier, and we're all looking okay. So all we've got left to do then, I'll get the AP up and running, is get the clearance and then brief the taxi, SID, and departure. Interesting one here. Question for you in chat. I'm going to go here to the climb page and delete the 250 below 100 speed restriction and execute. Anyone know why I've deleted the 250 below 100 knot speed restriction? Because when I've got the flaps up, unless I'm given a speed restriction by ATC, I'm going to go straight to the econ climb speed below 10,000 feet, which we can do for the reasons I'd like you to try and work out in chat. If anyone can work that out, I'll be very impressed. This isn't the biggest airport in Stockholm. No, Stockholm Arlanda. This is one of the secondary airports near Stockholm there. Listed me because faster is always better. Not quite, not quite. Very good. Maintain high speed below 10,000, yep. Does it have to do anything to do with the wind, said David Thomas? Nope, nothing to do with the wind. Let's get VATSIM up and running here, and turned up. Aviation Alex, correct. Aviation Alex, you've got it. Because of airspace is correct. If you're an IFR flight in Class C airspace, the 250 below 100 restriction doesn't apply to you. So we can go straight to the econ climb speed. In descent, we do restrict the speed to 250 below 100. We could go faster, but that's just part of our airline's SOPs, just to keep everything under control. So yeah, very well done to you, Aviation Alex, because of airspace Class C. Very good. Atomic Penguin as well. There's no 250 knots restriction below 10,000 feet for IFR. Correct, in Class C. Excellent. So, what I shall do is tune up tower.
Affirm, EZ57 Charlie.
And we'll try and get a clearance.
EZ57 Charlie, push and start approved, face north. Push to Alpha, facing north, EZ57 Charlie. Tower Scandinavian 45 with information Sierra, step out to Aberdeen.
Brad says midweek Magnus in Dyce is going to be chaotic, absolutely. It's going to be busy.
Key Sierra 1013, clear to stop and push Scandinavian 45.
Is that rebag correct? I guess so. Skavsta Tower, hello, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, stand 3, and copied information. Sierra 1013, departure clearance to Aberdeen, please. I think.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Skavsta Tower, good evening. Startup approved, clearance of the start.
Start approved, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu will be ready in about 5 minutes.
Copy, thanks.
So here it's a bit unusual, I guess. They want me to start engines on stand and then get the clearance, so that makes it a bit tricky. But we will request 08 when we do that. We can quickly change all the information around. So,
Alpaca 71 Bravo, information Sierra active, QNH1013,
I'll disconnect GPU.
start approved, face north.
And AP bleed is on, perfect. So, let's have a little look here at the briefings. We've only been cleared for engine start, so I'm going to just confirm.
Alpaca 71 Bravo, you will be getting clearance on.
What we do, I'll double check and just request push and start, and then we'll get a clearance afterwards. A lot of airports in Europe do give you only clearance after your push and start, which is a bit annoying because if they change the runway, to the one you're planning, it means you have to brief everything, change everything with the engines running, so you sat there wasting fuel. One thing you can do, though, is confirm AT, okay, well, if you get clearance later, can you just confirm the runway in use? And they go, yes, runway 0826 there. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to still plan it on 26 and request it, and we'll just see which way he wants us to push a start. He did say facing east to the other aircraft, so we'll see what happens. So, here's our flight plan. We'll be taking off, hopefully runway 26, we're going westbound right towards Oslo in Norway. That's around where Stavanger is, crossing the North Sea onwards to Aberdeen, cruising at 38,000 feet, flight time around 1 hour 30. And, oh, before I forget, look, retract, close. You can see the door closing in the shadow, which is pretty cool. Here is the airport chart. So we're on stand 3. Ideally, we'll push back face east, Bravo, and then take off of runway 26. At the moment, it's runway 08 in use, so it might be to face west, out via Charlie. 1634, and then you have to backtrack for runway 08, and then do a 180. That's why at an airport like this, they'll want 26 in use if it's the preferred runway, up to say like a 10 knot tailwind. You know, we can easily take a tailwind departure because the time it takes to go all the way back there and do a 180. Obviously, performance permitting. If you haven't got the performance to take off on a tailwind, you have to backtrack for runway 08 though. Doctor on board 80 says ILS approach runway 08. Yes, I know. Just like I was saying earlier, in real life, you can request a different runway for departure, even if it's different from the ATIS, and take the tailwind. But it really depends on traffic. An airport like this, they're not going to have a huge amount of traffic, so they can usually accommodate it. At the moment, we've got about multiple aircraft departing there. So what I'm going to do is actually request runway 26 for departure, and we can accept the delay in coordination. He should be able to accommodate it, no problem. Right, so yeah, I won't brief the SID then until we get our clearance, but that's what I'm going to request with the controller. Let me just get the better pushback organised. So yeah, it's obviously under the discretion of ATC.
Ground cockpit, tow is driving up.
But you know, you can always request a tailwind departure and just say, yeah, I'm happy with the delay, because it doesn't make any difference. You should be still sequenced for departure anyway. The same way. Right, what was I going to do? Better pushback.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
I've done that one.
Correct. DT4 Papa Delta, did you have a flight plan?
Why is it not letting me escape or connect? Oh, I hope I haven't screwed that up. I've already connected it. There we are.
Contact 2 kilo departure. Initial climb 5,000
Okay,
feet.
all doors and hatches proposed, ready to connect.
Cool. So yeah, runway 08 in use as set on the ATIS. Everyone is being spotted on 08, but if I was out of this airport right now, obviously we'll get the same amount of traffic. I don't think Aberdeen to Skavsta is a real sector, but if it was, there would be 8 aircraft going there at once. Louis says, do you have any plans to try DCS? Not at the moment, I don't, but it has been requested several times.
Alpaca 71 Bravo, I actually have your flight plan ready for you. Are you ready to copy? Yeah, we're ready. Alpaca 71 Bravo, you're
Longcat learns something new every day. Exceeding 250 knots in the climb was definitely being something I'd have to worry about. Yeah, it's only Class C airspace, bear in mind, so it's not, can't do it everywhere.
Clear destination, I've been up to 2 kilo departure 08, expect 5,000 squawk, taxi, and we are ready to taxi.
Wait, didn't I disconnect the GPU?
Alpaca 71 Bravo, there's an Airbus A321 behind you, so you can
GPU's disconnected. Oh my goodness. Look at this carnage.
That was Canada 45, ready for pushback.
And we do a DC-8, Justin Robertson. I don't know if there's a realistic one available. Anthony, what's on tap for Export Sniper Data Sim Continent? Modern Warfare maps out. There's 6 of us, so we do Modern Warfare, and if there's less than 4 of us, we go on Warzone.
We are ready to copy, Scandinavian 45. Scandinavian 45, cleared Aberdeen.
See, the thing is, in real life, yes, I'd be requesting 26 for departure, because that'd be the shortest taxi look for us. And then, obviously, we're going to the west as well, so that's beneficial.
3 kilo departure on way 08, maintain 5,000 after departure.
Problem is, if you go all the way out there and then take off, you're facing in the wrong direction, so fuel saving is significant for 26 with 7s.
I'm expecting a squawk during startup. 8 on 2 kilo and we'll expect squawk during startup. Scandinavian 45.
Skavsta Tower, back on 18 Bravo, Zulu stand 3, request push and start. Any chance runway 26 for departure? Exactly what I'd be asking.
Unfortunately, I have cleared so many other aircraft from 08 now, which was the better option a few minutes ago, so you will have to stick to 08.
No problem, and just confirm pushes start approved, stand 3.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, start approved, Kinate from 013. Have you received your clearance?
Negative, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
Okay, I have it for you, ready to copy.
Ready to copy, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, you're cleared to Aberdeen, Tomsa 2 Kilo departure, show me 08, initially 5,000 feet, you can expect the squawk to taxi.
It's the Tonsa 2 Kilo departure 08, 5,000 feet, stop altitude, and we'll get the squawk on taxi, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, read back correct. Break, Alpaca.
Perfect, so we've got 5,000 feet. We're going to get the squawk later on 2,000, and what we're going to have to do is just go here to departures and select runway 08, Tonsa 2 Kilo, execute, check for any discontinuities. There are none, that's looking good. Don't forget to do
Alpaca 738, stand 7, request push and start.
change the MCP heading.
Alpaca 738, have you received your clearance?
So Tonsa 2 Kilo, runway QDM is 077, and we're going to put 077 here as well. So changing runway is a bit of a pain, because there's a lot of things you can potentially forget. Everyone's so loud. You've got to check several things when the runway's been changed and plans. This is a real issue we have in real life. What's really annoying, if you taxi out and then they change the runway, it's unusual, but they can do that at very busy airports. So make sure you've got the MCP set, got the SID stop altitude and the heading bug selected. We've got the SID change in the FMS, so departure 08, Tonsa 2 Kilo has cleared. And lastly, the takeoff performance has changed as well. Now, I was planning an intersection departure with a tailwind of full 22k, so I'm confident a full 22k full length with a headwind will be more than sufficient, so we'll leave that there. The V-speeds need to be reinserted, update V2, and then you'd have to rebrief the SID and the taxi routing, because that's most likely to be different as well. But yeah, he tried, you could hear the control, he definitely tried to get us away here, but there's so much traffic here, he can't accommodate that request today, which would be the same in real life if there was a lot of traffic too, departing off that runway. Right, we clear push to start, so pack's off, anti-collision light is on, parking brake is set, transponder off, checks complete, and we just need to tell...
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
So he's going on the grass.
Standing by for taxi, fast and channel.
There we are.
Toe connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
He sounds very Swedish. Right, well, parking brake's released.
150 meters prior to
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Thank you. So, let's get rid of that SID. Departure is Tonsa 2 Kilo now. It's Tonsa 2 Kilo, then straight ahead Kilo November 400, Kilo November 400, right turn, Kilo November 550, max 220 knots, so we've got 220 knots selected, 2,000 feet, Kilo November 551, and then to Tonsa, we just need to put the 5,000 feet stop altitude here in the FMS, executed, RNAV SID, if airborne RNAV equipment fails, request ATC vectors, DME, backup is not available for mission updates, NADP2 shall be used, if unable flying RNAV 1, used RNAV R, enable RNAV SID terminology, that's looking okay. Cool, so that's all done, we'll start now engine number 2, just delayed it slightly because there's a aircraft taxiing behind us. Train spotter for life, he says, hi Flight Sim, how are you? Very well, thank you. N2. Oil pressure. definite excursion there. N1 is probably in prepared or something. Stockhouse. Yes, this scenery, sorry, is freeware scenery by what was his name? Bluefin. So yeah, straight from the X-Plane 4. It's quite nice.
Like a 7-1 Bravo behind the EasyJet Airbus
Ladband, hello, good afternoon. Have we all recovered from across the pond?
Operation complete.
I just have about. Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Start account. One change number 2, 2, 4, 6, 3, 2 step. Starting 1.
Pakistan 1 Bravo, confirm you have gotten full clearance as well via your departure SID and your squawk. Yeah, we've got Tonsa 2 Kilo off at 08. You gave us taxi, squawk on taxi. Yeah, okay, then you can have
And oil pressure, air 1.
5425. 5425.
And that's actually quite a nice timed engine start. You want to be
Alpaca 73, ready for taxi.
starting the second engine as soon as you set the parking brake.
Alpaca 738.
So by the time this one's all finished spooling up, he's ready to show you the bypass pin. It's going to be interesting with the max. When we start flying the max though, because the max, the engine start time is twice as long as the
bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
I will have a safe flight and I'll give you the hand signals to the left. Valiant, what's that guy doing at 1 o'clock? Yeah, I think that's his scenery. He's on a taxiway though, which is more like where you're meant to put the kind of ground vehicles. I think it's got different scenery. Sorry about ATC being very loud. It's quite hard to control. Right, there's the bypass pin.
Clear for takeoff from runway 08. Alpaca 28.
That's better. Right, let's do default taxi flow. Turn is on, AP is off, start switch is continuous. Probe on, anti-ice off, packs auto, EGPD off, and that is set. Flaps. And flight controls, forward, back, left, right, and here goes the rudders, full right and full left. Blank the lower DU and recall, that's it, checks complete. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, request taxi, standing by for squawk.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, you can set the squawk 4453, and I just want to confirm, there's a Scandinavian 45 here, is he in your way or is he looks like he's on the grass line.
Yeah, he's definitely not in my way, looks like he's on the grass, and squawk 4453, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, that's copied, then you can taxi apron hold short, runway 34 at Charlie.
Taxi on apron, hold runway 34 at Charlie, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. I'm not going to complain, the fact that he's taxied onto the grass, we'll take it. Right, parking brake released, clear left, and thanks Jim, good morning to you. Clear right, config, there we are, no takeoff config warning. Let's go to Aberdeen, Dyce.
Scandinavian 45 is ready for taxi, sorry we are having a shitty scenery. Scandinavian 45, no problem, then you will have to wait for the Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, long 78 taxiing on your left. Behind him you can taxi via...
Sorry,
you can taxi apron.
ladies and apologies. I can't control exactly what comes out of people's mouth. That was very funny. Sorry, Scandi. That was absolutely brilliant. Cover your ears, children. I don't encourage that behaviour, obviously, but that was just very funny. Thank you, sir. So another issue here, which should stop us from taxiing, is the fact that this... Oh, was he referring to that Scandi, perhaps? I don't know. Oh no, it must be that one there. Yes, we would not be taxiing past, obviously. I'm going to take the opportunity just to carry on taxing here. Look at the alpacas queuing here. Anyway, our whole point, we have to hold short here at Charlie at 3-4.
Because I first cleared some directly on the terminal and then some on the
Oops, I've got to set the
so I
squawk.
had to make sure which one got which. Yeah, that's the first one. And you can taxi a bit further, be hold a bit prior to runway 08. Taxi and hold a bit.
David, that was very Italian, straight to the point, right a bit of Edo. Watch your wingtip, Captain. Yes, that was questionable. That was questionable. Absolutely would not have done that. Anyway, here's hold point Charlie. I wonder what sim he's using, because he's going through everything. And this is our clearance limit. And obviously, yeah, look, we need to go all the way back here to take off, which is a bit of a pain.
Alpaca 38 Whiskey Alpha, contact setting control, frequency 118.4, bye-bye. 118.4, Alpaca 38 Whiskey Alpha, thanks for all your assistance. EC5 Southern Charlie, wind 150 degrees at 8 knots, from 08, clear for takeoff.
So yeah, you can see why departing off runway 08 is much more of a pain, because you've got to backtrack, take off, instead of just like, you know, normal queue here, straight off here, and the tailwind is not that much as well. But again, this airport would not ever experience this amount of traffic. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulus at Charlie runway 34.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, you can taxi out runway 34, hold behind company 738.
Taxi out 34, hold behind the company traffic, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Perfect. David said parking brake on, taxi light off. There's no requirement to turn the taxi light off when you're stationary with the parking brake set. But looking good.
Alpaca 71 Bravo, behind company Boeing, actually behind EasyJet Airbus A321 departing runway 08, line up and wait, wide back check.
I don't confirm if that is company or not. It's behind the departing EasyJet Airbus A320, backtrack and line up and wait 08, Alpaca 71 Bravo.
There we are, so we're on the runway here. Could take off from this one. We have got the performance 2,000 metres. Pento goes, what is going on? Very confusing. We're all taking off at once off this runway, Pento. We're all starting here and just going, no, I'm joking. So they're using this runway as a taxiway to depart off runway 08.
Have you received your squawk? Just waiting on the squawk.
Lauren says, dodgy scenery a valid excuse for being airborne without clearance too.
5465.
I think might not get away with that. David, this airport isn't built for apocalypse. Now, I did expect some of you would join, but I didn't expect quite so many. I don't think Skavsta has ever seen so much traffic on VATSIM. That's for sure. There's Easy, just taking off. And we are number 1, 2, 3, 4 for departure.
Tower scanning info flight holding short 341 Charlie.
Formation takeoff, that would be cool. Bodolo, what is the barrow set to? Is that elevation plus 1,000 feet? That is correct, Bodolo. What this altitude represents is, you know, if in the event of an engine failure, we need to ensure that we follow a certain profile for performance reasons and obstacle clearance. And we have to accelerate at a set height if we have an engine failure between this height and V1.
And we didn't receive a squawk code yet.
And that's called the MFRA, minimum flap retraction altitude. So if the engine, if I just went past V1 and the engine would fail, I have to accelerate single engine to this speed between V2 and V2 plus 20, whatever speed the engine failed at, whatever the flight director's pitching for.
5407,
And when we get to this height, we accelerate single engine. Now, if you are interested, you can see my engine failure tutorial in the PMDG NGX made a few years ago. Type in engine failure, PMDG, flight deck to sim, and you can see at this height I accelerate with the engine failure.
DC4 Papa Delta, continue holding Charlie.
There we are. Perfect. Now ZIBO was here at the start of the stream. He did mention, I'm not so sure, it's been so long since I've flown, but on the legs page here on page 1 there's only 4 waypoints. ZIBO is adamant that even with Route 2 functionality that only 4 waypoints display. I'm not so sure. I think it's the 5 waypoints on the first page, and then on the 5 pages here I lose the RMP actual information. I'm pretty sure that should be there. ZIBO says no, but I'm quite certain it's not meant to display these 5 lines with just a dashed line here, even with Route 1, Route 2 functionality. Now he did say that it's an option. We do have Route 2 at my operator. I've tried selecting it here, Route 2, but it's not working as an option. We only use Route 2 if we're flying the second sector if you want to load the flight management computer. That's what we want to do. If you're pilot monitoring on the first sector and your pilot flying next, you can save quite a lot of time by loading up the routing in the FMS en route in Route 2. But he says if I disable it, it will fix it. So I wonder where he has Route 2. FMS. Route 2, no. Now that's working correctly, but that should be the same even if you have Route 2 option. I'm pretty sure the RMP actual page is there even with the Route 2 option, so not sure. I need to double check there. David Leder, welcome as a member. Glad you enjoyed the content. You get invited to our members only Discord. We enjoy the using the custom emojis in chat. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy your time here. Head to Fort Worth, I think that is this. Do you fly on Pilot Edge? I don't. I have been invited, but I seldom fly in North America, let alone California and the areas they cover, and when I do, it's usually with VATSIM anyway. And that is no, I've mentioned it several times. I know there's IVAO, Pilot Edge. I know Pilot Edge is a paid subscription, but you get constant ATC there. I think they're all very good from what I've watched on other YouTube videos, but no, I just stick with VATSIM because that's the network I was kind of introduced to. Infinite Aviation 0305 says, how are you? Very well, thank you. What's seen in ZIBO mod? Mostly fixes. There were some bugs, I think, with the release version. This is the first 348 version we've flown. We're at 0.2, associated with execution lights in the FMS. Top of climb was missing on one of the pages as well. Some other small bug
50,
fixes as well.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks a lot, Maximilian Renard, for the €2. He says, how do you get the map to pop up from the tablet? You mean this? This is AviTab, and I've assigned that to a keyboard assignment on my keyboard. So a lot of X-Plane 11 aircraft now have an EFB which implements AviTab, and AviTab gives you the ability to open Navigraph charts. They've got integration which is really useful. So these are Navigraph charts. On top of that, AviTab also provides. Here you can obviously have the AviTab in the ZIBO EFB, but this AviTab here is available to anyone that has AviTab. So I can bring the charts up here if I close that there. Now, how is it? There's the home page in the ZIBO mod, so I never know how to access all the information. But yeah, you can have a map as well. Look there. There's loads of cool, neat features there. But yeah, it's completely free. AviTab, go download it. Really invaluable utility you need for when you're flying X-Plane 11. When I'm in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I really miss AviTab. That's for sure. Shock, did you start flying on VATSIM before flying in real life? Nope. I only started flying on VATSIM about 3 years ago when I started the channel and had heard of it. I'd only flown or used RT in real life before, which is obviously a benefit. It's excellent, and the way they replicate ATC procedures very close to real life, and the way they sort of accommodate the fact that there aren't always controllers, because we obviously fly to commercial airfields where there's at least a tower frequency, if not ground clearance, larger international airports. They allow for the fact that if it's quite quiet, that one controller could control several airports, which is pretty cool. So we just have our before takeoff checklist to complete here. Again, sorry for the delay here. This is just an airport. I wasn't expecting it to be as busy as it is, and even so, I don't think they should be using this runway here. We should all be taking the tailwind here because it's adding 3 or 4 minutes to every departure at least because they're having to backtrack there. When you're on the active runway, you can backtrack up to 50 knots. Not that I'd ever be going up to that speed, but I am today just to get the show on the road. Jordan, welcome back as a member, or perhaps renewing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your continued support there. That's 3 stripes you have. That's over 6 months as a member. So thank you very much for your time, and welcome back, I guess. I never know why it picks up here sometimes as existing members. Listerman, why don't they have any taxiways though? Well, they do, but it's not designed for 737s. Airports like this, I've not flown into Skavsta, but they'll have a preferential runway. It's an airport that probably receives 4 or 5 international flights a day, and if that's the case, backtracking isn't going to cause any massive issues like this, and then they'd still be using 2.6 up to a certain limit for tailwind. We have a lot of airports in our network where let me try and think here. Lanzarote would be an example. Runway 03 into Lanzarote, you actually have a 10 knot tailwind landing limit, and they'll stick on 03 right until it's over 10 knots because 2-1's a very tricky approach for pilots to negotiate there. Corfu's another one, so for approach they really want to keep the northerly runway in use because the only approach onto the southerly facing runway is a circle to land. So there's certain airports and designs where, for whatever reason, limitations to the scenery, they can't build a taxiway to make it easier. So that's the guy ahead of us.
Line up and wait 08 behind departing traffic. Correction, behind departing company. Alpaca 738.
There he goes, blasting off.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That's your flops. Thanks for the £5.
Looks like it's going to be another cold car bab Wednesday.
Thank you very much, Nature Flops. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for your continued support there. Looks like it. And late Xbox Live Nature Flops. Why do I keep streaming on Wednesdays?
To Aberdeen, please.
Why do I keep streaming on Wednesdays?
Please are calling calls on only.
Oh dear.
Apologies.
We don't have takeaway today. We've got we're having fish and chips, but we've got some frozen fish like codfish and like fish finger fish, like Captain Birdseye fish and chips. There are cold frozen fish meals available, of course. And hopefully it's an hour 40-minute flight, so hopefully we'll be airborne by 5 Zulu, so 6 local. We should be on the ground within 2.5 hours. We'll be fine. 8:30, no problem. Ranger Rick, does your company have SOP for when they turn off and turn on seatbelt signs? Yes, at 10,000 feet on the climb, if there's no turbulence, we turn the seatbelt sign to auto, and on descent at 15,000 feet, or around 15 minutes before landing, we put the seatbelt sign back on. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, we have to keep the seatbelt sign on at all times, and you have to, you know, it sounds ridiculous, but ask permission to use the toilet. When I say ask permission, you're never denied, but the idea is we want to limit the amount of people standing in one place in the cabin. I don't make the rules up. These are the regulatory rules made by the authorities. But yeah, we have the seatbelt sign on all times now, and we had done all of last summer too. Peas or mushy peas? Mushy peas, Miles. Mushy peas. And loads of vinegar on my chips. Loads of vinegar. I love vinegar on chips. Brent just popped in to say hi. Have a safe flight. I have to go back to work, so I'll watch this later. Seems like I'm missing a lot of fun. Sorry, Brent, you couldn't join, especially if you could have flown on the sector. So far, so good. I was hoping to be airborne by now, but backtracking and departing is taking a lot of time. But we are next after this. When we're backtracking, we'll complete the before takeoff checklist. Ranger Rig, thanks, wondered about that. Such a variety of operators. Absolutely, Ranger Rig. I have some very critical comments sometimes by people who say, well, you should do this at this stage. Well, I say, well, yes, maybe it's X operator. For example, a lot of airlines, they are LNAV and auto throttle on stand. We don't do that until we have been cleared to line up onto the runway. So lots of differences. You know, there's a saying we say in English, not the most popular saying, and there's many ways to skin a cat. Don't do it literally, but it does the same job. You know, it gets the same job done. So I only follow, you know, the way I operate the 737 operator. Onion vinegar, no malt vinegar, John. Ugh, I don't want onion vinegar. Big up the vinegar on chips. Ah, you're a man of great taste, long cat. James War says X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator. X-Plane 11 for me personally. I do like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I love the visuals it displays. Obviously an aesthetically brilliant looking sim. It needs a bit more, and it still is being developed work on sort of the flight model for me. I don't know. Just takeoff and landing and slow flight especially. Just in X-Plane 11 feels a lot more fluid, a lot more natural. Is the way I describe it. But yeah, I like Microsoft Flight Simulator. No problem at all, sir. Behind the departing traffic, line up and wait behind Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. That's no problem at all. The port controller doesn't need to apologise. He's done everything, and you know the runway in use should be this one with the right, rated for takeoff, yes, just about to backtrack.
Speedbird 117.
Why are you not using prepared, said Flight Sim Realistic? FSX and P3D are sort of still limited by this tabular-based format. They are good, and I think they have the best and most detailed jet airliners there. For example, the FS Labs, Airbus, the PMDG, I think has a bit more in-depth with the systems and stuff. This handles by far the most realistically, X-Plane 11. See you later, Alpaca. Right, being cleared to backtrack, line up and wait, so we'll put the lights on, taxi light off to remind us we don't have our takeoff clearance. LNAV, auto throttle, transponder TAR8, and weather radar is on. So 10 knots for the turns, greater than 90 degrees. we can actually backtrack up to 50 knots onto an active runway. Now, I wouldn't routinely do that. Generally 30 knots, the maximum speed on a taxiway is what I go up to, but 50, you can actually use 50 knots on a backtrack. Again, this is operator-specific SOPs there. So we're backtracking now. We'll complete the before takeoff checklist. So config we checked. Flaps we have 5 planned, 5 selected, and a green light. Stab trim 6 units set for departure. Takeoff briefing, we have the PAX auto, bleeds on, the V-speeds are set, 39, 40, 46. Departure runway 08 is going to be a Tonsa 2 kilo. We're going to climb straight ahead, I think it's to Kilo November 400, right turn, Kilo November 550, max speed 220 knots, and stop altitude is 5,000 feet. NADP2, so we're going to bug up at 1160, which happens to also be the MFRA, and retract the flaps on schedule. That's it. We've got Swedish control on standby, 118.4. Any problems, we're going to climb straight ahead to the MSA, which in that sector is 1900 feet, so we'll go to 3000, rounded up nicely there. There we are, checks complete. So you can see the ground speed's up to kind of 35 knots, 36, that's more than acceptable. Maximum speed on a taxiway though is 50.
I think there could be something wrong with the ICAO code for airports. Try refiling.
He's probably going to Gdansk. Very capturing your streams always brings a smile to me. Thanks, Ruth. Like when Mariana made you slam into the ground. Ah, yes, London City. How can I not forget? Just a nice break from the busy week. Thanks for keeping us engaged. Well, thank you very much, Rohit. Very kind. What I love about Explain 11, right? If you don't make any rudder inputs, notice how it's just turning to the left on its own. That's because of the crosswind. On the rudder, imagine a crosswind blowing on this. It really has a massive effect on making the aircraft drift during taxiing. Even a 10 knot wind will be pushing, you know, if it's pushing from the right, it'll be hitting the vertical stabilizer, and it weathercock into wind. It's such a huge vertical stabilizer on this aircraft, and that you feel in Explain 11 really well. So MCP set, transponder TRA, strobe lights are on. We're just waiting for our takeoff clearance. All good to go.
Bird 117, I now have a flight plan from you. Are you ready to copy?
FM, Spectre 117.
Bird 117, information Sierra, KNH1013, start up cruise, clear to Aberdeen.
Yeah, so I'm having to use my rudder to taxi because the tiller on my joystick doesn't work anymore. My Z axis is completely broken.
Destination Cruiser, Tonsa 2 kilo departure runway 08, initiate 5000.
There we are.
Expect squad building taxi.
Nice, line up.
KNH101 today.
Not bad, a little bit left to sense line though. Right, all ready to go. Just set the parking brake, just wait for takeoff.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu after a long time. Wind 140, recent 9 knots, runway 08, clear for takeoff.
Wait, 08, clear takeoff, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. There we are. Right, clear takeoff, tokens in chat. Let's go to Dyce. Right, timer 40%. Stabilise, push toga, set takeoff thrust. There we are. Light forward pressure on the control column. 90.3. There we are. Takeoff thrust sets. Indication stall. Check. Increase forward pressure.
Pushback approved. Fish runway 08. Behind the porting Boeing.
Up we go. 2.5 degrees per second.
Behind the departing
Airborne.
Gears
coming up.
Behind.
Onto the flight directors. LNAV. And trim. Good. Oh, look at the moon. That's no moon. Alright, let's concentrate on the fly. Bug up. NADP2. White bugs, V2 plus 15, and accelerating, so we can select flap 1. 118.4, thanks a lot for the ATC this afternoon. Have a great day. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, bye. Perfect, and flaps up. I'm going to select command because I want to contact the departures. There's command engaged in FMA, and contact Sweden because we're restricted to 5,000 feet and 220 knots for that initial turn. Sweden control, good day. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Tonsa 2 kilo, passing 3,100 for altitude 5,000 feet. Uh-oh. Why is it? What's that frequency? Check. So vertical speeds. 1,000 feet per minute. 220 knots because that's our maximum bugged speed. So aviate first, then navigate, then communicate. So aviate. Got vertical speed selected 5,000 feet as per the restriction. Let me just try that frequency again. 118.4. I can't see a 118.4 on VATSIM. Sweden control, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Tons 2 kilo, maintaining 5,000 feet.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Sweden, radar contact, climb to flight level 90.
Flight level 90, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Strange. Right, 90 set, so we can select VNAV. The aircraft
738,
won't start climbing because you need to meet that 5,000 foot restriction. There we are. And VNAV. Set standards. Passing 50, flight level 90 after takeoff checklist. Gears off, water brakes off, star switches come off.
Alpaca 71 Bravo.
Turbo lighting, air conditioning and pressurization set. 2.0, low pressure set of pumps because of the altitude we're at, that's quite normal, 200 kilos.
That's correct.
And remember that 220 knot speed restriction, we've now passed that, so we can actually accelerate to our econ climb speed, which is 292 knots. There we are. Fast, nice and early. Checks complete. Isolation valve was open. Oops. Nothing to see here. Must have knocked it. Must have knocked it. This should be an auto. There we are. It would be closed now. Oh yeah, checks complete. 2 to go.
134.325, 5 X-ray, thanks, bye.
Don't tell him. It won't do anything. In auto it will be closed now because if you have any of the pack switches in auto or on, it'll be closed. As soon as you move one of these switches off, it'll automatically open the isolation valve. But don't worry, that nothing could happen in real life. That is the importance of doing checklists. There we are. We're already at 290 knots.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, continue climb to flight level 280.
Climb flight level 280, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. I realise it's so easy now to say Alpaca instead of my operator school sign. It's going to be such a problem when I go back flying. I'm going to be trying to say Alpaca to everyone. Like it was when I started flying again last summer. Oh dear, oh dear. 280 checked. I've still got 90 kilos of fuel we need to suckle out the centre tank pumps. But look at that, we're already at econ climb speed, heading in the right direction on our way to Dyce. Superb. You usually wouldn't come on with... You need to have a lower altitude there. Anyway, 100 to 80 pre-cruise checks now. So fuel, we have 6 pumps, just that 50 kilos of fuel in the centre tank we need to get out. Lights coming off, APU's off, pressurization 3.9 climbing, and the configuration is set, and that is, yeah, that was very naughty about it. I wasn't checking the isolation valve quickly, correctly, so when you do that panel scan flow, you know, I was only very quickly doing it. You must take your time with that. Call it a reverse L, because you see how the air conditioning and pressurization panel is set like that. But that's also checking the configuration of all these switches and temperatures as well. So that's set, we'll leave the passengers in. COVID times, recall checks complete. And we only, there we are, centre tank's now empty, so
Alpaca 36 Alpha Golf, contact Polaris 121.550. Hello.
There we are.
Contact Polaris 121.
Which Alpaca runs so nicely off the tongue though. Boy, babe.
Alpaca 73 3, request 10 minutes away from flight deck.
Alpaca 738, roger.
Very
that's
nice, call sign.
approved.
Awesome.
Roger, thanks.
Nice to be back in the mod though. It's just, I love streaming other aircraft, guys, but from a stream preparing and a kind of a preparation point of view, it's so nice. It's what I do, you know. It's great, and I know you guys enjoy watching the mod too. I'm gonna have to learn how to fly the 146 now though, because I saw that was released today. That will probably be coming on Friday or Saturday. Just leave communication for the FO. Absolutely, Hamza. Not to do. PM's responsibility. Yeah, FO. It's not Captain FO. Yes, Captain is ultimately responsible in charge, but it's PM, pilot flying, pilot monitoring. Remember. Justin, how do you get the display T at the top of your screen? Are you talking about my overlay there? That is the overlay from, what's the name here? Fly Live Studio. I think that's what you're referring to, this overlay here. The T thing, I'm not sure what you're referring to there in regards to a T then. Adam, very concise and convenient call sign. Alpaca 738. Absolutely. I like it. Chris, do you use aileron elevator control inputs for crosswind taxis or takeoffs in the 737 like on a smaller aircraft? Excellent question, Chris Hawkins. So for taxiing, we're primarily using the tiller. However, when you're taxiing in a straight line above kind of 20 knots here, if you use the tiller, it can be very jerky. So the rudder pedals are connected to the tiller. They have up to, I think it's 8 to 10 degree inputs with the rudder inputs. So you can actually taxi in a straight line using the rudder, and it's a lot smoother for the passengers, not smooth from the aircraft. So we do on straight lines use the rudder to taxi, and that's actually quite nice, quite nicely modelled in the ZIBO mod when you have a tiller separately assigned here and just rudder inputs to rudder. You can actually feel that small input on the tiller, but unfortunately because my tiller's broken, or the twist axis on my joystick, I have assigned my rudder to the tiller. So the rudder input isn't realistic in regards to taxiing. Now for crosswind takeoffs, the rudder input is sort of similar to a light aircraft, but a lot smoother with those inputs. Also, the faster you go, the less input that's required because the control surfaces become more effective. Now, on a max crosswind takeoff, putting aileron into wind, you've got to be very careful with this on the early takeoff roll, because if you see you have these little aileron trim indicators, if you roll beyond 1.5 degrees, you're going to get the spoilers deflect on the upwind wing. So I'll try and demonstrate it here. Let me just disconnect the autopilot. So if I make a little roll input here, so you can see up to 1.5 degrees. See how the aircraft's just rolling? But within 1.5 degrees, that's only ailerons moving. I forgot about the volume, sorry. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm still hand flying here. So if I go outside here, see if I make that roll input again, look. See how the ailerons are just moving? But if I put more than 1.5 units, look what happens at the wing. Oh, come on, ZIBO. What? Why are my flight spoilers not coming up? Okay. ZIBO, is that a bug? Oh, they are coming up. It's very hard to see, look. So if I turn towards the inboard wing, see how the flight spoiler's coming up? So I make a left turn, and you see the flight spoilers moving. Probably easier in this view. There you are. So see how the flight spoilers move when I make a larger input. So a little bit of an input, look at the aileron moving, big input, spoilers come up. Now, just start hand flying here if I make the passengers sick. On a strong crosswind takeoff, if you have too much roll input, the spoiler's going to come up on the direction you're turning the control column, and that's going to affect your takeoff performance. You're adding drag to your wing there, so you've got to be really careful with that. However, on rotation, you want to be limiting sort of the aileron input up to that point, but on rotation you use as much aileron as you need to keep the wings level, so it doesn't matter. You've already happened your takeoff here. And what happens when the weight comes off the wheels, the aircraft really wants to drop a wing, because you've got the rudder crab, you know, your aircraft wants to crab, so you've got rudder to maintain centre line, and you've got to then start applying opposite roll. So if you imagine on the takeoff roll, I'm having to use left rudder to maintain centre line, because the aircraft's wanting to cut to the left. As soon as I come up, the wing wants to drop, so you have to put right aileron in. And on rotation, as the aircraft comes off the runway, you have to really increase that aileron input to keep the wings level. Best thing to look is look online at takeoffs from the 737 cockpit from someone that's been lucky enough to put a camera up, and you can sort of see those inputs that are required there. But yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Great question, great question.
02 side 2 information. Mike is
Where's my sick bag? Said Domino Messina.
Copenhagen via
Hunt me, your outer spot is disabled because you're cruising. No. I swear some people on VATSIM love to shout into the microphone. Like, or they have their microphone in their mouth. Because the volume varies so much. So yeah, it's they've got to be very careful with that input on the takeoff roll. And with the landing, the sort of opposite is true, but again, using as much aileron input is required to keep the wings level during the flare, and then during the rollout as well, the initial rollout high speed, you want to keep the aileron into wing too. Sebastian, any reason for letting the isolation valve in open instead of auto? Are you watching this stream about 45 minutes, 10 minutes behind? It's in auto now, but no, I forgot. That's why there's two of us and we complete checklists. Very important. Checked. Climb flight level 380, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So 380 is set, that's once, twice, and checking the FMS. Three times. That's not right. I mean, I deleted it, but it should be completely blank. It shouldn't say, yeah, that's better. Why is it saying, yeah, if it's completely blank, deleted, it should stay like that, but if I execute it, it's putting zeros. That shouldn't be the case. Speed rest. There we are. ATC, you missed. They called again, did they? Was that a new frequency? Or was that the climb? I was a bit late reading back the climb, but that's because I was writing down notes in front of me for ZIBO.
Kilo Bravo 42, start up and pushback approach.
Pushback approach to Bravo 42.
Yeah, you can come back to me, wouldn't he? Anyway, what's our ETA? ETA is 7:50 local UK time, 1849 Zulu.
20.
A little over an hour and a half from now, with no delays, which I do anticipate then. Thanks a lot, Davids.
Hey, have you ever landed in Funchal? Madeira LPMA.
Hey, said Microsoft Jane. David, we have. If you got a second call. David.
You're on the correct frequency.
I have just the link for you. If you have a look at this link here, I'm sending you here. It's a map of every single stream we've done to date. We have flown the ZIBO mod into Madeira. Yes. Oh, still some departures looking. Skavsta. I think the tower controller's gone off there. But no, David, thank you very much for your donation. We have been to Madeira in the ZIBO mod. It was some time ago. No doubt we'll pop in there again at some point. But thank you very much for your donation and your membership stay. Thank you. Pete said they did call again. Oh, really? I think we're okay. Yeah, I haven't got any calls on. I haven't got any. It hasn't called again, and I haven't got any messages on the X-Pilot. It's quite nice. We've got ATC for departure, and we've got Swedish Centre online. We also have Oslo Centre online as well, and Scottish. We've got ATC for the entire sector by the looks of it. Oh, nice Conga line leaving Skavsta going to Aberdeen here. How many arrivals into Aberdeen at the moment? The event doesn't start. Oh no, I think it's just started. 39 arrivals they've got into Aberdeen. Oh my goodness me. That's not a huge amount compared to certain group. Oh my goodness me. Right, if you look on the VATSIM map and click Aberdeen and look at the lines where the aircraft's all coming from, most of it's domestic UK, and there's also one aircraft there, and then there's a huge amount of aircraft coming in from Stockholm. Going in from Aberdeen. Sorry to the controllers. Oh my, oh my. Adam says there's a very symmetrical looking cloud.
Just leaving the cockpit for about 2 minutes.
Just a little bit. Hamza, does it explain have random failures? It does. It does. I think they're still. Oh yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I have that turned off at the moment from across the pond. So I should probably turn it back on. Maybe for the next stream. Why do you laugh about everything? I've always wondered, said MLG Coyote. Well, why not? Why not? I'm laughing at that. Do you want me to not laugh at everything? I think it'd be a bit boring though. Stephen Jenkinson, Aberdeen has a major discount at IKEA, I presume. Absolutely. That's why everyone's flying in. Hey, that's probably actually what we're doing. The Aberdeen IKEA have got a huge shipment, so Alpaca Airways were hired to carry huge amounts of flat pack furniture to Dyce's IKEA.
Condor 54, you're cleared to Arlanda.
Simon, after your recent flight to Barcelona, has your opinion changed to a more favourable one in regards to AC21? It's all been banter anyway, Simon. However, for across the pond, I really took the time to sort of, I'd say, learn the Airbus, or certainly fly it with regards to the the documentation that comes with those aircraft. And obviously there's always some limitations in desktop simulators, but no, having prepared for that stream in a lot more detail, or in a lot of detail there, I began to realise how the modes worked, whereas before I sort of had a rough idea, but now I was actually understanding the concept behind like managed descent, open descent, GS Minia, had I leave the speed window closed on approach, what it's doing, but yeah, it was great fun. Hamza, blood is good for the blood laughing is good for the blood circulation, absolutely. And you guys crack me up half the time with some of the comments and donations you bring in as well. It's good to laugh.
Alpaca 71 Bravo, contact Polaris 121.
So got your Torp VOR coming up here. Might as well tune that. It's backed up. 1385.
Alpaca 3 Charlie Foxtrot, also contact Polaris 121.550. Bye-bye.
I have Zola on standby 1685. Oh, box one. Was that for me? Oh, I think it was different frequency. There we are. It's got next VORs are tuned. Flight is supposed to be responsible for over 50% of VATSIM UK event traffic. Oh yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people join in sometimes on the sectors. And our monthly group flights now, we haven't had a group flight recently which has had less than 65-70 people taking part, and they're great fun to organise, and they're all done with, with liaising with ATC, making sure we have ATC for those flights as well. I really enjoy preparing them. Tell you what, after being in the tow list of 120 FPS, the ZIBO mod, I'm only getting 30 here. Has anyone noticed? I don't know if it's just me. Has the ZIBO eaten up a bit more FPS recently? So I've only got 30 FPS. It's fine for streaming. And Ortho 4XP doesn't help because I haven't got to load all that in here. But when I was in the tow list, getting 120 FPS, that aircraft, I don't know how they get all that FPS out of the aircraft. Safely any builds, that's very FPS friendly. Rory says, Captain, how do you manage your time? I guess being a pilot takes you away from home. Well, at my operator, we're at our home base most nights. We do very occasionally get sent out of base for a block of duties, but I haven't been out of base now for well over a year, especially due to coronavirus pandemic. There isn't the capacity or need to send us out of base at the moment.
And the 4 Papa Delta back in the cockpit.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Tim Fraser, thank you very much.
In the words of Bob Hopkins, it's good to laugh. No, that's not right. It's talk tears of joy. Not sure if you will remember that TV advert.
I can't remember, but Robert Hobbs, he was an actor, wasn't he? I can't remember what films he was in, anything like that, but he said it's good to laugh, didn't he? I didn't know that, Tim, but thank you very much. In the words of Bob Hopkins, it's good to laugh. No, that's not right, it's talk. He said that, didn't he? Okay. I'm not sure if you remember that TV advert. I don't, Tim. I don't. Am I showing up your age here? I'm only joking, Tim. I can't remember that advert, but Bob Hoskins or Hopkins, was it? I don't know. Thank you very much for your donation, regardless. That's very, very kind, Tim. Absolutely, it is good to laugh. MGS1, what are your actions in case of engine out situation in the cruise? We perform something called the drift down procedure, MGS1. So if the engine was to fail right now, what we do, immediately pilot flying, diagnose the situation. The aircraft, you'd notice recognition is very important. The engine spooling down, shaking, vibration, engine fire indication or something like that. It's a very controlled procedure, no need to rush. The aircraft, you still have one engine providing thrust, so what we do is maintain altitude for the time being, keep the automation in there, disconnect the auto throttle, and we go out here to the, it's not model unfortunately, we go to the cruise page, engine out, select the engine, it's not model, left or right, and that will give you two bits of information: your engine out cruise altitude and your speed required for the drift, or your best cruise speed there. What you do, you take your N1 target, sorry, for max continuous thrust. So you'd set firstly on the page there, the N1 thrust setting. So if you go here to N1 limits, you select continuous, set 100.9% on the remaining engine. Once that's set, you get your rudder trim sorted, so you don't need to make any rudder input. So you get that all trimmed out, and then what will happen is the aircraft will start decelerating to this target speed, and once you're at that target speed, it takes around probably 30-45 seconds to get there, so you need to lose about 20 knots there. You'll have set on the MCP your maximum single engine cruise altitude, which is from the FMS there, so that will be set there. As soon as we're at our target speed, we'd select level change, and the aircraft would start descending with max continuous thrust on the operative engine to your single engine cruise speed, and it'd be something like 25,000 feet. The aircraft's got loads of performance single engine, very, very easy to fly in single engine as well. And once we're establishing that descent, call it the drift down procedure, we'll have started the QRH checklist. Depending on what the engine failure was, we'll have contacted ATC, depending on the severity, a PAN or a Mayday. A PAN would be sufficient if the engine's just flamed out. Most likely ATC want you to turn left or right off the airway, and then, yeah, it's a very controlled, easy to deal with event. Obviously stressful to the point your engine's failed, but yeah, that's what we do. It's called the drift down procedure. Great question.
Before that, for a frequency change, that would be appreciated.
Hamza, you're in Tunisia, fantastic. You have travel restrictions, oh no, and your tourist season's just started. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. There's so many restrictions all over the place at the moment, it's hard to keep up with what's what with different countries as well.
Are you with me on
MGS1, thank you so much for your detailed explanation. Anytime, MGS1, anytime you have questions like that as a member, tag me in Discord. I'm happy to go into detail about those things, because that lets me look that topic up myself, refresh my knowledge on the procedures as well. So those questions in the 737 tech related channel and the ATPL channels as well, please don't hesitate to tag either myself or any other of the real pilots there, because I enjoy answering those questions there.
Yeah, confirm your level passing now.
Passing 5,000 km 42, thank you.
Rohit, in the old days, how did you pad in the cockpit in FSX? When I started making tutorials, I had a plug-in, Easy Dock I think it was called. That's what I used. So much. X-Plane 11 has the best default camera system. It's so good, so good. Liz Shala, hello, first time in your stream, hope you're having a great flight day, thank you very much. Liz Shala, thank you very much.
120550, 78.
James, I heard a 737 pilot who also flew the A320 called the 737 a bit of a T-Rex compared to the A320 because it had tiny, almost pointless arms that are the ailerons and a missed tail of rudder. Really, James?
40, 30, 20,
Fair enough.
10.
Thank you very much, Tony, for the $5.
Checking in. Flew on the MAX-8 last week.
Amazing.
Beautiful bird. Looking forward to the ZIBO model soon. Slightly smiling face.
It's ZIBO Microsoft ad. Thank you very much, Tony, for your $5 donation. Very kind. I hope you're doing very well, and that's stateside for you. So yeah, Max is being flown. Are Southwest flying them? Is it America? I know that the Max is flying a lot in the States now. Yes. And looks like Boeing have hopefully rectified all the previous issues. Looking forward to flying it myself, done the conversion training as well. Very capable aircraft, lots of excess performance. I'm not looking forward to the wait times for the engines, they take ages to start there. But yeah, awesome, very, very cool. I haven't actually flown on it as a passenger. Was it significantly quieter than the NG? I've heard it's really quiet. They're like little baby 777 engines, those ones there. They sound like a big engine when you spool them up. They did level D-Sim anyway. Thanks a lot, and yes, and I'll see if ZIBO will perhaps implement anything in the future. There is a dodgy X-Plane 11 version, the Walter White Max, but something's copyrighted or something. I won't be touching that with a barge bowl. But thank you very much for your donation again. Mad Hammy 2000, what kind of examples would be the difference between a PAN and a Mayday? Not necessarily just engine related. Love the streams. Thank you very much, Mad Hammy. Depends on the severity of the situation. A PAN is what we call an urgency situation, so we need assistance from ATC. But the immediate short term, there's nothing endangering life there. A Mayday call is serious, serious issue. Could be linked to control issue, a fire, severe actions having to be taken, basically, potentially in the flight deck. Now, different operators have different understandings between a PAN and Mayday, and not only that, different countries as well. Some countries might not understand the severity of a PAN call. Not understand a PAN call. They know what a PAN call is, but a PAN or a Mayday call are both serious when you make either of them. But if you're not getting the assistance you need from ATC, you can always upgrade it to a Mayday or downgrade it to a PAN, if the situation develops. 121-550, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Thanks to ATC, standby. Yeah, it depends on the severity of the situation, but Mayday, for example, fire, if I had a fire on board or an engine fire, rapid depressurization, flight control issues, so if I was pitching up on the elevator and the aircraft wasn't going up, that would be pretty serious. An urgency situation, a PAN call would be an engine flame out, loss of a hydraulic system, a flap issue, anything which is going to affect the normal operation. But yeah, they're the kind of differences between the two. Excellent questions coming in today. Keep them coming. Love it, love it. Tony, very quiet in the cabin on the Max 8. I believe that's what I've heard. I can't wait to see the difference. Iris Turbo, do you trust the Max, Captain? Do you still think it has design flaws? Not going to give you my full ideas and thoughts because I'm representing all views, always my own point of view. But yes, I'm confident now that the previous issue. I've done the conversion training and we looked at stabilization issues and MCAS in depth, and the new systems which are enabled help prevent what happened in the previous instance from happening again. It can be overridden. There are systems which stop it from operating. Yeah, when we ever get a chance to fly a Max on the sim, we'll discuss all those in length. Radar, very good evening. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, maintaining flight level 380 inbound to Torp.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu,
perfect, all checked in. Looking good.
And then Airline 4162 requesting stand 60 due to traffic static.
So getting into the cruise here, a little bit of background music, and we'll start planning our descent around 20 minutes before, so yeah, on the hour, start setting up for our approach then. MGS1, any major differences from the end user point of view, procedures or automation? No, very similar to flying the NG. There's a few additional systems involved, but a lot of it's working in the background. The conversion training is one simulator session. Steve Jackson, London controller, who I've heard of. I've not spoken to him personally. On Twitch, he's streaming. He's a bit, oh my god, with all the alpacas inbound. We'll keep him busy. He's a Twitch streamer, is he? A VATSIM controller. A lot of people talk about him on Discord. I think I'm following him and vice versa on Twitter. Alex, why all the pilot panels show no selected speed? Because in VNAV, the speed we're flying is in magenta on the cruise page, decimal 773. Oh dear. You can open up the speed window, bug your speed like this, or you can go to the flight management computer and update the speed manually. But as long as you know what the aircraft's doing, that's fine.
3000 and then left heading 020. Please confirm the heading, please.
Someone's going around somewhere.
860. Payment 826 negative, heading 280. Roger, heading 280.
Derek, what airline do I fly for? I think you got bitten to it by the members there. Thank you a lot for asking, but just ask about privacy on that one. Thank you. N1 simulation's got the exact definition of PAN there. PAN is when there's a possibility the safety of the occupants has been compromised. Mayday is essentially when the safety has been compromised and the occupants on board are in immediate danger. There you go. That's the absolute by-the-book definition. Yes, bank angle, 10 degrees.
Atlantic 4821. Identify flight level 190. Continuous flight level 260.
Flight Deck Sim, Rohit says, it's Flight Deck Sim Gaming Captain, is that you? No, that's not me, that's Mariana, my partner, who helps me run the second channel. In fact, Mariana's been playing a lot of Valorant. She uploaded a video, so if you guys want to go check out the video she uploaded on the gaming channel, she's getting... This is the thing, Mariana has been into gaming that much, and in the last 3 or 4 months, because I obviously been gaming my whole life, she's really picked up playing Valorant, or she started off with Among Us, and then it was Project Winter or something or other, and then it was something else, and now she's absolutely addicted to Valorant, as she's been playing it loads with the other members on Discord, and now she uploaded a little video, a little combination. She's getting like aces and kills, and really, I'm nervous. She might be a better gamer than I am. Speed 150 miles an hour says, I've asked before, but do you ever use wing anti-ice on the ground? Why or why not? I'm sorry if I missed that speed 150 miles an hour. I am trying. But yes, wing anti-ice, if we're not being de-iced or anti-iced and we're in icing conditions, or we are not being protected by type 2 de-icing fluid, we would use wing anti-ice. So, sorry, if we are being protected by type 2 fluid, we wouldn't use wing anti-ice on the ground. But if we're on icing conditions, not getting de-iced, wing anti-ice on when it's 10 degrees or less, visible moisture, and that system automatically turns off when you get airborne. The air ground logic will move the switch to off and turn it off there, and that's to comply with engine performance requirements in events of engine failure. But yeah, it's seldom used in flight unless we have icing build-up. Primarily used as a de-icer, wing anti-ice, as opposed to engine anti-ice, which is an anti-icing tool to prevent ice from falling on the lip of the engine. Andreas, have you flown the PMDG NGXU so far? What do you think about the flight model compared to the ZIBO? Great question, Andreas. I haven't flown the PMDG 737 for quite some time. I never had prepared, so I've never tried the NGXU. X-Plane 11, I switched to this simulator after using FSX or previous renditions of Microsoft my entire life. What was it, around 2.5-3 years ago when I was introduced to the ZIBO mod, and I was instantly converted. The blade element theory of the aircraft, the way aircraft handle in this sim, so much more fluid, so much more natural compared to FSX prepared. Microsoft Flight Simulator has obviously changed that. They no longer have lookup tables. The aircraft do fly or handle more realistically, I still think Blade Element Theory feels more natural, which is why, well, I still use this M plus for ZIBO Mod 2. But going back to your point about the PMDG, it's still an excellent aircraft, I think, for a procedural trainer, especially on your type rating. As obviously on an unofficial way of practicing, it's really good. But the ZIBO Mod is as well now. But yeah, when you have crosswinds, dynamic conditions, yeah, the ZIBO Mod handles or feels like the desktop equivalent of the 737. Miles Peacock, do you get to book flights that you want to do with your airline? How does that work? Or is it mostly randomly allocated? Great question, Miles. It is randomly allocated. Randomly allocated. We don't get to choose. However, one thing we do, or can do, is swap. So, let's say, you know, in my base, my main permanent fixed base, we all have a WhatsApp group. We're all in here. And if someone needs a day off or a swap, they'll usually make a post about it and saying, look, my girlfriend's in labour, or usually not as bad as that, but if they need a swap for a wedding or something, we all get a fixed amount of days off each year, a month off and days we can allocate, and they're usually granted. But if for whatever reason they can't, or you need a day off at short notice, make the swap. And it depends the time of year. Right now, I mean, anyone would be praying to fly, so there's not many swap requests there. Hello, Jack. So you just have to hope that someone's available, but the airline is very accommodating at requesting swaps. So say if you need a day off, you say, look, I'm doing this sector, X has agreed to do this flight, you make a request. We have like an online website portal, and that's usually approved. So yes, we don't get to choose what flights we do though. The roster comes out, and we just have to do whatever it is. Hi buddy, Jack, my Labrador's just walked in, if you're new to the stream. Yes, lots of attention. He smells of yeah, for those who are dog owners here, we have every month the flea, he hasn't got fleas obviously, but we have to put the flea thing on him. He stinks of it. It's called Advocate. It absolutely stinks of it. Don't you? Yes. Yeah. You hate it when I stream though, don't you? Yeah, the sun's shining, take me out. Good boy. Excellent. Frank Santa, what would happen if you miss a slot? Great question. It depends where you are and how busy it is. Usually if you miss a slot, most of the time you get a new slot which is just a few minutes after and there's no delay. I've had it where I've missed a slot and I've had to taxi back onto stand because they wouldn't improve on it. So yeah, you've got to try and make your slots and you know, taxi out based on the traffic conditions. You've got a 15-minute window, minus 5 minutes to 10 minutes after your slot to be airborne. Gino, how do you determine when to set the bank angle? Again, SOP specific, but my operator, we set the bank angle to 10 degrees above 30,000 feet. Now, LNAV has bank angle limit protection, so it will bank beyond 10 degrees, but it'll always ensure it doesn't bank over what's required. However, if ATC tell you to maintain a heading select will obey whatever you have on the angle bank selector. So if you have it set to 30 degrees and you're at your maximum flight altitude and you try and bank at 30 degrees, at high Mach numbers especially, you might experience Mach buffet, where parts of the airflow of the wing are going supersonic, which could potentially cause you to stall. You heard of coffin corner and you know, the threats associated with that. So yes, we limit the bank angle, so I should do now, to 10 degrees above 30,000 feet. Cat, does the Mac still use bleed air for engine anti-ice? Yes, not that modern. Has a fly-by-wire flight spoiler system though.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks a lot, David, for your donation there. What's that? Oh.
Haha, when you miss the airfare slot in LS, you taxi back and go home long.
I'm sorry, but Microsoft's Jeanette's haha was absolutely brilliant. Can I just do that just one more time, just for the banter? So sorry that you have to go back on the stand though if you miss your slot in Zurich. Well, yeah, I can imagine. Normal times, the amount of traffic. Quite surprised they even allow VFR flights out of there. Haha.
Haha, when you miss the airfare slot in LS, you taxi back and go home long.
Unbelievable. Thank you very much. That's my immaturity as a child going through. Coffee corner, buffet alert. Behave yourselves. So funny. Visix, hi Flight to Sim, can you make a full tutorial on the ZIBO MOD 737 for 2021? You'd like me to update my current playlist. I have everything pretty much covered for the PMDG and the ZIBO mod, but you'd like an updated version. I'll consider it. That's something that's been suggested by a few people. Just my video editing skills is a little bit better from when I started my channel. If you look at my latest tutorials.
Good evening, this is North Shuttle 106 with you at the stand.
Something I will consider. Thank you for your suggestion.
5 requesting I-4 clearance. Special 106, that is number 1 for clearance.
Amazing. Lauren, what if you're cruising below flight level 300? I guess you're not likely unless on a very short flight. Yeah, it's just below 30,000 feet we have 25 degrees set. And yeah, on short sectors, less than an hour can be below 30,000 feet. I've had flights over an hour and 50 minutes where I've been below 30,000 feet due to route issues. Very unusual, but I remember flying to France, destination France, and yeah, it was an hour and a half sector, and we were flying at like 28,000 feet. Couldn't get us any higher. Ethan, do you play over career mode? There isn't really a career mode in X-Plane 11.
Skinny 5 for Skinny 4-5 liner, cleared direct bumper via bumper, cleared ILS 09er, report destination.
And direct bumper and clear ILS 09er, report established, Scanning 4-9er.
David 1871, no for ATC available, continue to come 122, destinate, bye.
Right. Rid of these
Alpaca 36 Alpha Gold.
charts.
Terminated contact Scottish at 121.32.
Aberdeen ready. So there's no arrival for us, guys. Well, there's an arrival for your helicopter. If you're in a helicopter look, you come in via something called Hagley Head. So if you're coming in from the North Sea, one of the many oil rigs in the North Sea, so there's no arrival for us. We just have ILS 34, and it will definitely be 34 in use, and we're routing in just pretty much from the west direct to Downey. Really interested to see how ATC deal with this. There's only one hold here at the entire airport on the extended centre line. They could be just sticking everyone there. They might get us just a hold and present position to the east. This airport is just not designed for the amount of traffic which you typically get on a VATSIM overload event. So we've got an approach chart, first ever time flying into here, and there's the airport chart as well. Not the longest runway available, 1900 metres, but certainly not the shortest either. And also grab an airport chart and parking stands. Last overload event we did was to Isle of Man, and they handled that brilliantly, so it'll be quite interesting to see how they do that here. So we're going to probably... Aberdeen, there are so many runways here. Thanks for all the helicopters, really. But we'll plan to vacate on 0523 here, take that left there. I want to see what ATC can do to accommodate us, but we'll brief all that in around 15 minutes. Elias says he even sounds like a pilot. Awesome. Yes, sometimes people think I'm about 14 years old.
EC57 Charlie, identification services terminated.
MLGI Coyote, are you, in regards to Max, are you flying a specific Max? Just fly the Max MLG Coyote. Thank you. James, talking about control wheel steering. Lauren, Dublin Edinburgh for me, assigned flight level 270 and had some pretty steep turns. I switched into 10 degrees and kept the belts on as it was very windy. I mean, that shouldn't make any difference at all. I mean, if it's very windy there, Lauren, you know, it doesn't affect your bank angle unless the winds are constantly changing and if it's very turbulent. But there should be sufficient margin there. If you've got gusty, strong winds at that level, that's pretty nasty. Frankster to aren't you 14? I'm actually 15 now. Lola Licross, what if you can't understand the Scottish controller? I'm sure his English should be fine. Right, thanks for a lovely stream, good night. Make a button, we'll see you in the morning. Thank you very much. Speed 150 miles an hour, said future pilot has arrived. My 3-month-old is watching your stream now. It's just made a weird sound that I assume means hello. Brilliant. That's awesome, Speedboy 50. James Z, here's your original question. I've been reading some manual about control steering in the 737, but still got pretty confusing. Could you please explain a bit what is control wheel steering and when to use them? What is the correlation between control wheel steering and command? Thank you very much, James. Great question. So I've never used control wheel steering in the real 737. What it essentially does is turn the 737 into an Airbus. You basically manipulate the autopilot through the control column. So if I select control wheel steering now, we're in flight director mode, control wheel steering, roll and pitch. So the automation is not following the flight directors here. So if I start pitching nose down and let go of the control column, it'll just hold that attitude. Look, can see how we're descending here. If I now pitch up, and just let go, it'll just hold the attitude. So look, it'll ignore the flight director. Flight director's going to go down to tell me to level off. It doesn't care. It just holds the attitude. Same in roll. If you bank within, is it 6 or 8 degrees now, it'll roll wings level for you. But yeah, it's essentially how the Airbus handles when hand flying. Never use it. A situation where we're advised to perhaps use it is severe turbulence, where you just want to hold an attitude. But no, I've never really experienced proper severe turbulence in my entire career. So there you go. Sorry, I was a bit late now. Just kind of scrolling through some of the questions there. Simon ML, what was the name of your overlay? Fly Live. Fly Live. Tango Delta hop back on the city skylines. I played a bit. I started a new city, but I kind of got into it. But I got to around a population of 40,000, and as the traffic management gets annoying, I even downloaded the traffic management plugin. Traffic Manager, I think it's called, where you can manipulate the lanes, and even that was getting confusing, and the cars were doing what they were doing. I just gave up. MLG, how are you going to fly the Max 7? I'm not flying Max 7. I mean, I'm flying a Max. Very much digging into my personal life there, MLG. There's no need to go into so much detail. You know, a lot more flexible with regards to talking about my personal life than some other streamers and what aircraft I'm flying. But there's no need to interrogate me, otherwise I'll just, yeah, you won't be anymore, okay? Captain France, hi Captain, what is the difference between the flight number and the call sign? Which one should I put on the first page of the route section of the FMC in order to be correctly seen by ATC? Great question, Captain, because it does cause confusion. If you go here on the initial
50,
performance page,
40, 30, 20,
and here, I'll show you I'll just let say thanks to this guy here. It's a safe flight number.
Evening. Silent viewer, and just wanted to say thanks for the content.
Thank
just
you.
Watched your 5060 SK Concorde to JFK, which was awesome.
Thank you.
Anyway, happy landing.
Thanks a lot, Craig. Very kind. Thanks for the £5 donation. That's awesome, and I hope you enjoy. I'm very happy you enjoyed watching the. That was our first ever charity stream. So thank you very much for the viewing that, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. We've streamed Concorde a couple more times since then, so you might enjoy watching those. We did JFK to Barbados and Barbados to Heathrow, so yeah, you might want to check those out. But thank you very much, Craig, and yeah, you've been watching for some time, I guess, and thanks for popping in. So yeah, excellent question regarding the flight number. So this is flight number, but it is call sign. What Boeing should put is call sign here, because it's not the flight number, for example, when a passenger books a ticket and they look for the flight number on the check-in desk or the deliveries. Oh my god, I'm losing it. On the departures board, they're looking for the flight number, but this should say call sign, and you always put your call sign here because this is what ATC sees on their radar return. Is what you type in here. Very important, not so much in the sim, but in real life, that you put the correct call sign there, so you pop up as you should display on your flight plan.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Steve, I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for popping in.
Hi boss, sorry I've not been around a lot, but the new pup is keeping us both on our toes.
Marion, I think, mentioned it, Steve. obviously everything that happened with your doggy as well, and it's so lovely to hear you've got a puppy now. And thoughts are with you still here. It made us think about Jack a lot, that does. But awesome. We've missed you, Steve. We've been cracking on with streams, and great for you to pop in. And yeah, we all look forward to seeing the doggy in the pets channel. Steve, awesome. Thank you very much, and hope you've been keeping well.
Air Hamburg 775 X-ray, report back. Under flying 0. Thank you. And I'll pack 3 Charlie Fox, report back.
So approaching the Zola VOR.
Control hello, this Alpha gets Alpha Mike, flight of 380.
Elias says, how do you all feel about flights in 2020, and do you think it will be better than X-Plane once they work out the bugs and pair it with PMDG, aside from FAA certified version of X-Plane? I don't know about the FAA certified version of X-Plane, never tried it. There isn't so much difference between the stock version and the FAA certified one, apart from the fact that it's required to train pilots. But yeah, it's progressing nicely. There's still plenty of little bugs and tweaks that need to be made. I'm glad they got round to the performance issues which they had with the... Well, they updated the UK version, and there was a mini patch, and I had terrible FPS. It's much better now. But yeah, can't wait to try the PMDG, obviously. It'll be interesting to see. I think by the time PMDG have finally released the NGX, there'll have been several updates to Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I've flown a little CRJ by Aerosoft. I've not flown that aircraft in real life. It does feel a bit... I don't know, Microsoft Flight Simulator flying slow on approach does feel a bit... It feels like FSX in a way, I don't know, but yeah, time will tell, X-Plane and Blade and MO Theory is still, for me, the better feeling system. Who knows what will happen. Memes have feelings. It's commented, we need to get you to 100,000 subs. The most peaceful X-Plane stream. Very yin and yang here, not yin and yang, very zen here. Memes have feelings. maybe you can, whilst you're trying to sleep, put me in the background. Anyway, about halfway through the sector, progressing very nicely, as ever. If you are enjoying the video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button as well. 350 likes, 500 people watching. That'd be great to see if we get up to 500 likes before we land into Aberdeen. It'd be interesting to see how busy it gets when we get a little bit further westbound, and how they're going to deal with this. It'll be quite amusing. Steve says, boss, have a look in the channel, there's a short video. I will, Steve. I won't now, but I will do as soon as the stream's over. I'll have a little look. Excellent. Right. I think we should probably start setting up for this approach. Maybe a little bit early. But 190 miles. It could be very busy, and I want to get everything set up prior to descending just to make sure we're ahead of the game here. So I'll turn this background music down slightly, and we'll hand over control to Jim. Let's get the show on the road. We're now over the North Sea. Oh no, we're not quite over the North Sea. Get your flight deck sim map out. There's a nice Ortho 4XP. Well, I say nice Ortho 4XP. Slight issue with the tile here. Ooh, yeah. Slight issue with the tile. There seems to be a big issue with the tile. Was that me? Or the coastline looks a bit... That's not great. Maybe we'll stay on the inside here. A little bit of weather on the weather radar return. A bit unusual. Now, yeah, I'm pretty happy looking outside here. That's just a bit of a... The return there isn't the most realistic. I mean, if you were level here and you'd have it tilt down at -1 degrees and saw that, you'd see in these conditions a huge CB, but there's nothing there. Limitations. Right, anyway, we'll start setting up here. Yeah, I'm really struggling for FPS still tonight at 25-30 FPS. Just seems a bit stuttery. So 250 below 10,000. What's the transition altitude in Aberdeen? Transition altitude 6,000. So why is it saying 250 below 10,000? It should say 250 below flight level 100. Not sure why it's giving us 10,000 anyway. Doesn't make any difference, just how it should display on the FMS. 300, 10, 200 and 100. Little dash line here, that shouldn't be there. There should be basically as it's displayed without the dash line. There's our descent. Double descent speeds. So descent 344 at 7. 211 at 11.
Polaris control, well,
And from the north at 15 knots, expecting runway 34 today, so that makes sense. Latest weather in Aberdeen. QNH is 1014. There's currently some showers of rain around, scattered at 3,000 feet. Typical Scottish evening. That's all done. Fixed rings, going to use my legs page, runway 34. And we'll have a 10-mile ring.
North over 106 now, level
4-mile ring.
6,000 feet.
Well, what do we have? 38,000 feet today, so we'll put 114 slash.
Climb flight level 370, North over 106.
There we are. All looking good.
Cargo looks
Yeah, that's fine. That weather radar returns a little bit inaccurate. I mean, if you had the weather radar down until really far down, you know, something like that, you'd have the tops with normal -1 to be level with the aircraft, but absolutely nothing here in the game. Oh, the weather's reloaded. Look now as well. Yeah. Very good. Logic UK, that's why it showed 250 below 100. Line select key 1 is 180 below, was it? That'll be exactly why it's doing it. What page is you looking at though for that? Should be on that page. Oh yeah, there it is. Should be 6,000. Why is it defaulted to 8? It's not letting me change it anyway. Should be able to put 6,000, no problem. I'll try slash, but maybe the way ZIBO's programmed it, you should be able to just put the altitude straight away. Won't let me change it, unfortunately. Yeah, you're quite right. So long as it's if you put 6,001 or 10,001 feet, it'll change it to 10,000 feet. It's within a foot there. So descent page we've done, fixed rings we've done. So can't change the transition level then in this version. So yeah, I mean there's no star guys. We're coming in just routing direct to Downey. So if I have a look here on the plan page, Epic Clon 40, Oddvan Bood on Lesney, that's where the airway terminates, and then from Lesney I just routed direct to the centre fix at Downey. That's it. So we'll have to make some changes to the FMS on inbound to see what routing AC gives us. That will keep them very busy, but yeah, no arrival, no terrain issues because we're over the North Sea. To the east it's 2,300. Just get everything set up for the ILS now. So 1099 is the ILS frequency.
3476 on the box for negative
1099, 1099.
40,
Course is 340.
20, 10.
Thanks a lot, Luigi, for your 250 megs in US dollars. Thank you very much.
Hello Captain, just checking in. It has been a while since I could watch a live stream.
Oh, it wasn't that
Let's
long ago.
go for a butter landing, slightly smiling face.
Makes the slightly smiley face. Thank you very much, Luigi. It wasn't that long ago because you very kindly donated, certainly in the last 2 or 3 streams, I think it was. So thank you very much for the continued support. It's very generous of you. Great you can make this one. And yeah, I'll see what I can do into Aberdeen today. With the wind's not too bad. Very wet, but we should be... We'll see what we can do. I can never guarantee a butter, but we'll see what we can do. Did I say Mexican US dollars? Well, thanks many miles one. Feel free to use the Flight Data Sim Atlas if you so please. Thanks for the Mexican dollars. Oh my days. Rory Heap, are you going to fly the BA 146? Yes, I am. I've heard mixed reviews about the aircraft. And I've seen a few videos online. I looked at Q8 Pilot's stream and review of it. Very good as usual. And yeah, it looks okay. Some of the textures, I think, I don't know, just compared to what else is available for the price range is $55. We'll see. I'm yet to try it. I'm yet to check the dynamics and stuff. But yeah, I've heard mixed reviews. But we'll give us an honest review. Probably Friday or Saturday. It'll probably be the next aircraft we stream. I'll purchase it this afternoon, or this evening after the stream. Right. Anyway, yes, we discussed the routing, frequencies, courses. 340. 4 mile height check at 1540. Minimums 415 feet.
That station,
200 feet AGL, MSA, all the terrain inland over the North Sea here, so any problems will stay to the east. We have the Aberdeen NDB 348, and that's going to be 7 miles. Now, I've got an awful habit. The charts on Jeppesen aren't quite as clear as showing you where the DME reads 0. My chart, my operator, we have an AdBlue chart, it's very clear. It says in big letters, DME reads 0 miles at the threshold based off India Alpha Bravo Delta, or reads 7.4 DME off the VOR, depending on whatever you have tuned here. It's not so clear on the charts by Jeppesen. You can have a look at the profile here. But there you go. There it is. That's the missed approach point. It doesn't even say, I don't think, where the DME reads 0. It tells you on my operator charts at the threshold what the DME reads. But yeah, it is 0. I've been caught out on the last couple of streams by some of the US airports where the DME isn't co-located with the ILS, so it reads differently. So you've got to be really careful with that. One of the reasons we use fixed rings on the ND there. So we've got frequencies, courses, minimums coming in then direct to Downey. If not, we're going to probably have to hold. Maybe they'll send us all the way over here to this arrival, but who knows? It's for ATC to coordinate and work out. We're going to be coming in then via Downey. Downey's the set to the platform altitude, I think. No, 2740. And then we have the platform at 2,500 feet, which is at 7 miles. I don't have that waypoint programmed. We've got a 1540 platform altitude here, this Foxtrot India point at 4 miles. Okay, so they basically have this as a hard waypoint of 4. That's fine. 4 miles. We're just missing the 7 mile waypoint, which I think, working backwards, 2.6. No, not quite. But I've got a 2740 altitude at Downey. But no problem. We've got the platform altitude here, which is 2,500 on chart, but we've got, for some reason, straight to 1540 after Downey. That's fine. We're going to be using approach in the ILS anyway. But if we were flying a localizer approach, I'd reselect localized approach and try and find this waypoint there. 2 seconds, Danny. That's all checked. 3 degrees, Pappies on the left-hand side. However, this is the default gateway scenery. I did a test sector earlier. There are no Pappies appearing on the scenery on the gateway, which is a shame. RVR 550 meters there. Thanks, Danny. He says, I've got a question. Why does the isolation valve automatically open if you turn off one
50, 40,
of the engine bleed switches?
30,
This would leave engine 1 bleed trying to supply AP to both packs here. I'm all going off here.
Enjoying your streams.
Thank you.
Have you flown over the Pacific using PACOTS route?
I haven't, Nephew. I'll get straight back to you. I'm just going to answer this one here. So, a question. Why is the isolation valve open automatically if you turn off one engine bleed switch? This would leave one engine bleed trying to supply air to both packs. The ops manual states that one engine should at no times be used to run both packs. Hope I'm correct. Now, I don't know what ops manual you're reading there, Danny Roble, but yes, the bleed system is capable of providing pressurization to both packs up to the cruise altitude, but the QRH does recommend that you descend to at least 25,000 feet to relieve the workload on the remaining system. And you're also restricted in the MEL to 25,000 feet if you have to cruise that altitude beforehand there. Now, without cracking up the manual here straight away right now, you know, engine bleed failures can happen. You just have to follow the guidance of the QRH to descend to the recommended altitude there. And if you can't, you can, if you have to, for performance reasons, stay at your cruise altitude there. Great question, though. Dave Fuel, thanks for £7.19. Enjoying your streams. Have you flown over the Pacific using the PACOTS routes? I haven't. I haven't actually done any streams over the Pacific Oceanic airspace there, Nathan Neal. Thanks a lot for the £7.19 donation as well. But something we'll perhaps look at. I think a sector to Hawaii from the States would be quite a cool flight to do at some point. But thank you very much for your donation there. Very kind. Awesome. So, where did we get to? I think we just got our performance to do there. Andre says it's written in the same box as runway elevation at transition level. ILS DME reads 0 at 3-4 threshold. Whereabouts?
Contact Flesland Tower.
Same box as runway elevation transition level.
119.
Ah, look at that. See, this is why I don't like JEPI charts. They're just... That is so, like, tiny text. If you look at NavBlue charts, I prefer them. I mean, obviously Navigraph use Jeppesen, and JEPI charts are the most common chart provider. I just find the information sometimes a bit convoluted, a bit overload. NavBlue is so much clearer. They get rid of the information, but they make it a lot more clearer, better to understand. It's so much easier to read, personally, I find here. Yeah, well, thank you very much for telling me where it is there. Anyway, right, what have we got to do? Landing performance. So, we got a 4.3, 5.3, 900 kilos to burn, and we need... Oh, we're having loads of fuel. 2.3 is our first alternate to Edinburgh, so we arrive with 2 tons extra fuel. That's at least 45 minutes flight time, and our landing weight is going to be 61. How much was it? 900 kilos, so 61.5. So we have runway 32. No, 34. I was going to say, there's so many runways here. 34, 2.5, wet because it is raining there. Surface wind 0308. Temperature is 15 degrees. No, it's not. It is 7. QNH is 1014. Flap 30 is wet, so I'm going to use reverse thrust because it's going to be a short runway. Double check what that landing weight was, 61.5. Ah! No. Really? 2,000 metres? Order rate 3? That doesn't seem right. That seems a bit excessive. Let me check the real OPT. Don't have Aberdeen here, but I'll select equivalent runway. That seems a bit... It seems like it's over compensated for the performance there. That doesn't look right. Well, surface wind 0308. Found somewhere runway 34. The equivalent anyway, 7 degrees, 1014. Flat 30. All reverses. And 61.5 for the landing weight. 121.32. Alpaca 18 Bravo. Zulu. Thanks. ATC, sir. Bye. Getting 1850 metres. Actually, no, it's not that far off. Yeah, 1850 is what I'm getting from the real OPT to 2073, but it's still pretty tight. 1853 and 1830. Really? Well, there you go. So yeah, we're going to actually use max auto for the landing settings. It's actually not too far off, about 200 metres. But if I float, I'm going off the end of the runway. It's not the longest runway, and it's using wet. Wet is obviously factored as well, so it takes a little bit longer to stop. And actually, X-Plane 11, it depends how wet it is. Sometimes X-Plane 11's braking physics could be a little bit unrealistic, but there we are. We've got auto brake max selected. You know what, I'm going to go flat 40. Sorry, I don't know why am I using flat 40? Flat 40. This is very tight. Oh my goodness me, Mod, where are you? Performance.
Oscar joining you on right space, runway 09.
That's a bit better, but still pretty tight. We're going to go max auto, auto brake max, flat 40, second to 10 reverse, and yeah, we'll be using every inch of that runway apparently. There we are. Scottish, good day. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, maintain flight levels 3802 Clon.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Scottish, hello. After Leslie, route direct Alpha Delta November, and expect flight level 8 Alpha Delta November.
That was a lot of information, wasn't expecting. After Lenzie, direct to Aberdeen, expect flight level 80 at Aberdeen. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So
Hamburg 775
Lesney,
descent level 200.
direct to Aberdeen.
Level 200 when ready, Hamburg 775 X-ray.
Alpaca 3 Charlie Fox on convergence speed 290 knots of rate.
There we go.
On convergence
Ah!
290
Oh,
rate.
look, that's why you always check your waypoints before you execute it. Alpha Delta November. So we've got Lesney, Alpha Delta November, execute. And expect flight level 80 at that point as well. So what they're doing, they're basically routing us to the north and then they'll deal with us afterwards. So what we're going to do is put Alpha Delta November Downey. So it's basically going back to itself and then doing a 180 degree turn. And we're told to expect flight level 80 at Aberdeen. There we are. So that's all done.
Hamburg 775 X-ray.
Hamburg 775 X-ray. Got a flash message.
There you go.
Do you want us to maintain 77?
So what I'm going to do
On
is
conversion you'll get a speed.
Oh, okay, Roger, sorry, thanks.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, report the Mac number.
Mac decimal 77 Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
18 Bravo Zulu, Roger, 0.77 operator.
77 or greater, Wilco Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So let's crank up the speed here. So what I have done is put, yeah, let me just explain what I'm doing here. I was just kind of experimenting. So if you look here at the waypoint, you'll see I've got 40 Ovden, Budon, Lesney, and then we're going direct to the Aberdeen VOR, which is to the north of the field. We're expecting runway 34 in use, okay? So instead of going from Aberdeen, Downey, 180 degree turn onto the approach here, now what you get is a big loop here. I'm going to tidy this up a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is go Aberdeen and create a waypoint around 10 miles before it, okay? So I'm going to go Aberdeen, and to make a waypoint before, you put a slash, then minus your distance. So actually, let's make it 15 miles before Aberdeen. So Lesney, and then route to a waypoint 15 miles before Aberdeen, okay? So I'm going to execute that, and after that waypoint, I'm going to route direct to Downey. Now the reason I've done that is, it just tidies up the FMS slightly, makes it a little bit more realistic, and also gives you a better VNAV descent profile. Now if I get to this created waypoint, which is 10 miles before Aberdeen, what I need to do is don't turn left, because that's not with respect to your clearance. Don't use LNAV and turn left, just go heading select and continue maintaining that heading direct to the VOR, or you could put it back in the FMS, type in Alpha Delta November, and then LNAV. So I hope that makes sense. Just tidied it up slightly by creating a waypoint 10 miles before, routing that direct to Downey waypoint. Just gives VNAV a little bit, you know, a little bit more to bite on, a little bit more realistic information as well. And what I can also do is create you can create a waypoint there if you wanted by Downey, but I'm just going to update it under heading. So yeah, that's the routing confirmed, sort of like our star briefing, even though we're not flying a star. Performance is pretty tight then, mostly due to the wet runway. Wet runway and a short runway, so on a wet runway the landing performance, your landing distance required increases, plus it's a factored distance. I don't know if ZIBO's added that factor. I think he has because it's about 200 meters more from what I'm getting on the real OPT. So yeah, interesting. Right. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what X-Plane 11's braking coefficient's like, because I remember we landed once on a wet runway and it was like braking on a contaminated runway. It just didn't stop the aircraft. I was braking, max braking. So this is the first time in a while we've landed on a wet runway, so I'll be really using max reverse thrust until stoppings assured. That's a limitation in X-Plane 11. Actually, I need to drop an email to Lambda Research to say that the braking coefficient is got something slightly different there. Thanks again, Danny Rubel, for the £1.74. He says, okay, never mind then. Got in from some forum, someone who asked himself the same. It's clear to me now. I tried to learn the pneumatics. Thank you very much. This is saying how much I learned from your streams. Thank you very much, Danny Rubel. Well, remember, I don't know what your background is, if you're on a type rating or real operator. Remember, this is purely for entertainment. Don't go off hearsay. You know, don't go off everything I'm saying here. But thank you very much for your donation again. I hope it made sense. Cool, so we're all good to go. Hopefully no runway runway excursion, Christian. Runway incursion is where you enter the runway without clearance, and excursion is, yeah, going off the end on the side. Neither of them are something you want to be doing.
150 level,
Level and up deck.
150 level up deck. I'll get M2 to Alpha.
Cool. Oh, that guy is the London controller. Oh, is he streaming as well? Yeah, I know he's streaming. I didn't realise. Is this the guy that is London controller?
249, I've sent you a reroute.
I think I have popped into. I don't go on Twitch. I haven't Twitch, but I think I popped in. I now recognise his voice.
That makes it 45. Report your max number.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, we're talking to Danny Rubel about bleed trip off and pack trip offs there. I mean, the QRH, when you have a bleed trip off, try and reset it. But if it won't go on, you put the other pack on to high flow, and you turn the actual pack switch to off, so you don't actually try and operate 2 packs with one bleed air system, and then you try and descend to 25,000 feet. That was the clarification on that.
That's 321, turn left heading 28 degrees.
Yeah, that's Jamie. Cool.
280.
Listening to 2 streams. Very cool.
Are you able to accept that reroute?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks. Whenever you're ready, no rush to
There's quite a few VATSIM streamers as well. Dot Wallop, I know he's very busy in his personal life as well. I know he streams on Twitch too. But he was doing the across the pond the other day, which was pretty cool.
Good evening, Easy 4 Papa Delta with you, 5360.
Pan, can someone catch me up on what the FMC programming a few minutes ago? Went ready to send flight level 200, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Yeah, so basically all I did there, Pan Golin, feel free to answer ask the question in Discord if you're not so sure. I created a waypoint directly before. Basically, our original routing was to route direct to the Aberdeen VOR, which is to the northwest, and then, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We were told to make this restriction to be level 80. I've essentially changed the FMS, or manipulated it, to build a more accurate profile based on what we can expect to fly, and that just gives Vina something to bite in there. Now, if I get to that waypoint I created 10 miles before, and we haven't been cleared further, I'll put Aberdeen back in there. It's just to tidy up the FMS here. It's very hard to explain via text. I did my best when I was trying to make it. I'll go over it later if you so wish.
Good evening to both of you. Expect flight level 140 at Upgate.
Yeah. So he's controlling Scottish, he's not actually controlling Aberdeen radar. That's going to be someone else's unlucky job.
Actually, that's fine.
So he wants to fly 7 or greater, so what I'm just going to do here is just on the descent page put 7.8 for the initial cruise speed. And I think based on the fact he wants us to go greater, I'm just going to put 300 knots as the target speed for conversion. We'll update it accordingly. Hi. The calamari needs eating. The calamari. We got squid rings, but that's because they go off today. I'll be ready at by 8:30. Unbelievable. Bye bye. Unbelievable. Getting stick behind. Stick left, right, and centre.
After Lesney, route direct Alpha Delta November and expect 508.
Simony Bob, what do you think about the new physical CDU that just came out for X-Plane Prepared and FSX? I have an email from the developer who's very kindly offered to send that out to me. I just want to make sure it's all ticks all the boxes, you know, because you know, I just want to make sure it's definitely an approved software. And if that's the case, I'll get it sent over and we'll review it. It'd be pretty cool. I think that's what you're referring to. Anyway, yes, we did everything. Performance, water brake max, that should be more than enough here. Yeah, be interested to see what happens.
765 Golf, route is in text, when ready, route direct next.
Okay, we'll plug it in, get it fixed.
There we are. Approaching top of descent, and we have VNAV engaged, so it should. I'm just going to close the speed window. There we are. It's going to start descending for us. We've been clear, we're ready. So yeah, the landing performance here on a wet runway it's factored by 15%. It's increased what's recorded. It's actually the rules are changing. They're going to make all landing distance performance calculations, well, at my operator at least, be factored by 15%. But yeah, it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight. Max manual, max autos should be fine. Just a bit concerned with how X-Plane's landing performance and runway braking, braking factor will be modelled. We've been caught out before, but that was on a 3,000 metre runway.
But a 19 in November, climb flight level 280.
Claiming 220 for the 1 November.
EG803, turn left heading to route 123.
Very cool. It's quite great to see some other viewers from another streamer watching here. I feel like I'm hijacking. It's not the case. Very cool to see two of us at once. But I guess it's quite cool, as SKW said, seeing the radar return on me, because he'll be seeing that on his display. That's cool. Twisted's high stream, is there a way to obtain 737X cameras to download? Are you talking about my prefs file for the ZIBO mod, Twist? I don't have a link to that, but if you really, really like it, drop me an email and I'll send it over to you. There we are.
133.875, back to 128.
Cheers, take care. And the 650 kilo, what's the call sign, sorry?
It's Flarejet.
Flarejet? Was it Flyerjet? Flarejet? There's definitely an airline that uses a call sign for Flarejet. I think it's a BizJet operator.
417 Scottish, hello, Roger, break EG7, Foxtrot Tango, contact Amsterdam, frequency 125.755, take care.
Awesome. So guys, if you just tuned into the stream, welcome aboard, we're just starting our descent into...
18 Bravo, do on conversion speed, 290 knots for 3.
290 knots for gross yacht conversion, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So we're doing 300s. We're doing 300 as planned, so that's keeping us happy. I sort of kind of preempted that, because usually if ATC are telling you to fly just before top of descent, decimal 77 or more, on conversion they usually want you above 280, 290 knots, just from what you get in real life. They're trying, if they tell you to go or greater, they're trying to get you ahead of traffic. If they're telling you to go 77 or less, it's because there's traffic ahead of you. So we'll stick at 300 knots as planned.
Take care, break GB 164 speed 220 knots.
The BBC said flight deck sim for becoming ATC on VATSIM. It's been suggested before, and I think it would make a good stream, wouldn't it? But I have to do all the exams, don't I? And I can have to stop on clearance first. And you know what will happen if I stream it? There'll be 80 of you wanting to depart at once. Random vertical speed is 3,000. Is there a limit? Not at all. There's no maximum limit, really. If you're going above 5,500, 6,000 feet per minute in descent, it's going to start getting a little uncomfortable. But in situations where you're accelerating in descent, you'll find that you can get quite high rates of descent. But 5,500, 6,000, the automation generally limits to. Thanks a lot, James Martin. Welcome as a member, not the chef, I hope. Thank you very much. Welcome on board. Glad you enjoyed the content. You'll get invited into our members-only Discord to enjoy using the custom emojis and chats. And thanks for support.
With a nice 280, what's your best speed you can give me?
800 knots.
Yankee, 300 knots.
Yeah, you can go faster.
300 knots greater than 90 Yankee.
Well, London Controller sounds just like a London Controller. Very good. Sounds like you're flying riding from the south, from mainland Europe. Liam, I'd like to sim. How does LNAV determine what bank angle to use? Does it depend on the altitude? Yes, Liam, it does. How we find out what the limit is, it's information within the logic of the system. So it'll bank what it'll never overbank what's the minimum safety required.
873, when ready, descend slot level 200, expect slot level 140 at target.
Easy to 873, when ready, descend flight level 200, expect
Downey systems on the 146 seem different. Have you seen the order throttle? I watched Q8 Pilot's introduction video on it, and it looked different. Yeah, I'm going to have fun trying to stream in that, for sure.
20. 10.
Hi Jonas, thanks a lot for the €2. He says, very, very good evening everyone, how's it going? All very good here, Jonas Let's Plays. We've just started our descent into Aberdeen. No idea what's going to happen next, if we could expect a hold or we'll get a delay. Be interesting. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much anyway. Boston. Oh, where's that comment gone, Boston? I was reading about whiskey. And it disappeared.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu D, 7 flight level 160.
7 flight level 160, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu.
I'm
going to go watch this in London Controller stream after. Go see myself talk. Beijing, any holds expected? I think so. I think so. But we're with Scottish until quite late here. I'm sure someone will be able to tell us if we can expect holds.
Flight at 650 kilo reports you're headed to Scottish Control.
I think we might be okay. I'm looking at the VATSIM map, and there's quite a few arrivals coming in, but it's not... I mean, when we did the Isle of Man overload events, we had to hold over Manchester. Looks like we're getting in here.
Polaris Control 121.555. Bye-bye.
Alexander just landed Aberdeen, no delay. There you go. Now, guys, for those butter enthusiasts, I'll see what I can do, but I will not be floating here because of the performance. So expect a nice, hopefully great landing in what it says. See what it does. Our father says how much extra fuel we got. 45 minutes. So how much we got there. Yeah, 20,000 feet.
Taking the speed 4 280 knots or less.
Looking good.
280 knots or less, easy 4 Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu speed 250 knots for greater descent flight level 120.
Descent flight level 120, maintaining 300 knots. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. 120 set.
80 miles.
Stephen, would you ever fancy doing a VATSIM controller? Do a stream on it for a giggle? Stop suggesting it. Could be good fun though.
Left 275,
Could be fun.
2873 shouldn't need to descend just yet, but if you are on conversion speed,
there we are.
270 knots.
Here's the Scottish coastline.
270 knots, 2873, and that was the altitude in our flight.
David says, everyone at VATS is flying to Aberdeen. It is their overload event here. ZIBO Music, hi Captain, forever grateful for your videos and streams. Any chance to see a landing where you're cleared to skip your star and just land? How do you do it? Great question. A lot of my... oh yeah, there's nothing I can do about that because I can't set the transition altitude here. If you have a look at a lot of my streams, ZIBO Music, I don't have any specific streams or tutorials on that, but it's very common to get shortcuts on the arrival direct to a centre fix when you get vectors or something like that. So yeah, go check that out. Yeah, I can't change this at the moment. You should be able to do that, it should change it, but I'll try this just as a format for the mod. But it's broken. I can't even delete it, can't even change it. So unfortunately, I can press delete, modify, execute, it doesn't do anything. So unfortunately, due to that bug, I can't... You'll have to ignore the fact it says standard in amber. The reason is because, yeah, it thinks the transition level is 180 and I've got 120 set. Why am I not on the QNH? Try 060. Yeah, try that. Did we try that earlier? Okay, the real aircraft, you should be able to purchase 6,000. You should be able to put 6,000. That's fixed up then.
005 and using 2873.
Excellent. John, yeah, you need to put 060. Now, I'm trying to fix the real aircraft, but I mean, because we're going to an altitude, you should have an altitude display there. on the takeoff page. But yeah, 060. I'm trying to think now. Would that actually work in the real aircraft? But you should be able to put the altitude in. 6,000 feet should work absolutely fine. Which is the way I've done it for the last 10 years. And when you're so hard wired into putting a certain thing in to make it work, it's like, oh, why is that version not working? So 1,000 feet per minute now. Let's go.
2873, turn left, head in 320 degrees.
Scarlet Hornet, what's the panel at the top of the screen? That's the Fly Live overlay. I can't see that, but you can see it in the stream. It's a stream overlay.
Decent throttle 130, scan in 45.
Scan in 45 to speed 250 knots.
Speed 250 knots, scan in 45.
So we'll get further descent shortly.
9080, route direct.
Bank angle, Captain. Yeah, just testing. Hope you're doing well, Fabi.
M22 at Alpha speed 300 knots on conversion operator.
300 knots on conversion.
Excellent.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, contact Aberdeen radar on the frequency 119.050. Take care.
119.050, thanks a lot for the ATC. Jamie, we'll see you soon. Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, bye.
Take care, mate.
Awesome, I'm going to drop him a message, nice guy. Right, Aberdeen, approach 119.050.
Alpaca 2A for Mike, Scottish Hello.
And we'll see what happens next, guys.
775, turn right in 185.
Right, 185.
Jonas, let's play, I'm going to beat you to it. Thank you. Aberdeen radar, hello, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, maintaining flight level 120 inbound to Aberdeen at 300 knots.
Easy 803, turn right in 205, descend flight level 80.
Turn right heading 205 and descend flight level 80, easy 803.
Easy 64, Christian 684.
So what we're going to have to do, remember, is go to heading. We're also told to maintain or expect 80, but we can't descend any lower.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Aberdeen radar, good afternoon, vector with Fidelis approach runway 34, descend now flight level 100, speed 220.
Descend flight level 100, speed 220 knots, vector 34, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So 100 checked, he wants 220 knots, so we're going to go level change, bug 220 knots, carry on inbound to Aberdeen. Jonas, thanks for the €2. Yes, always donating at the most inappropriate time, and when I get below flight level 100 is usually with a point where I put the alerts muted on the approach. It gets super busy there, but thank you very much for the €2 and for reminding me. Oh, I did turn it off. I did put the message on. There we go.
Altitude 4,000 feet, speed 180 knots.
Down to 4,000 feet,
There we
speed
go.
180 knots, and back 775.
So let's get ready to go heading select.
Turn right 260 degrees, descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1014.
Which I'm going to do now. The reason is I don't want the aircraft to queue
Right heading
to turn yet, so I'm going to go direct to Aberdeen now.
5,000 feet, easy 803.
And then down it. And we'll tidy it up later. Now we'll see. We'll change the VNAV profile quite a bit. He says, go back to L now, have a look, because we're routing direct to Aberdeen.
Right, 070 degrees, descent flight level 80, DB164.
There we are. So you can't see it on the chart there, but Aberdeen VOR is up here at 14.3. So I should put that on standby if there's a missed approach. Sweet.
Hamburg 775 X-ray, descent to altitude 3,000 feet, turn right to the 220 degrees.
Down to 3,000 feet, right 220 degrees, and 775X.
Cool. So guys, yeah, if you've just tuned in, go check out London Controller on Twitch, because he is streaming all the aircraft coming into Aberdeen, which is pretty cool.
Right 035, up 321.
I had no idea he was going to be doing that. He did like my tweet earlier. That's super cool. I wish I'd let a few more people know, because you guys have got a fantastic opportunity to see quite a proficient VATSIM controller vectoring us around, streaming it, and see the controller's perspective, and obviously you get my perspective from being a skipper driving in on this busy VATSIM event, which is pretty cool. Pan, does this FMC not auto-tune at nav radius? Absolutely not. That's for only modern marvels. There we go.
Aberdeen radar, good evening, Eurowings, Tube Mike, Alpha, passing 4,600.
So when we get a little bit closer, if we're approaching Aberdeen, we don't have any further clearance from 8C, we just give them a nudge, just say, okay, what's your intention sort of thing, really. What's he going to do next?
Left heading 210 degrees, climbing level 110, Eurowings, Tube
Should have cycled the belts.
Alpaca 3 Charlie Foxtrot, Aberdeen Tower 18.1.
181, Alpha 3 Charlie Foxtrot 5.
Easy 803, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
I'm approaching flight level 100.
Easy 803.
Easy 803, speed 180 knots.
Speed 180, easy 803.
Just saw that's doing lots of mutual love between Jerry and Flight Sim. Very good. Anyway,
GB 164, turn right at 165.
can we actually see Aberdeen Airport down there? I can't. I don't have done any external views.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, turn left at 155.
Heading 155 degrees, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So 155. So when you level off at flight level 100, you still do the post-cruise checks, it's not wind passing. Oh, so he stepped up, that pilot there stepped on him whilst he was still transporting. So you've got to be careful of that. 4 pumps, we have 4.4 tons on board, lights on, AP's off, pressurisation 3.3. And that's all set. Seatbelts on, pre-cruise checked, there we are. Post-cruise checks complete. So, we can now just redirect to Downey and then just keep the FMS updated that way.
Left heading 160, Eurowings, Jumac Alpha.
Easy 803, rated in 255.
So we can make a little waypoint to help us out here. So we'll go Downey, 90 degrees off will be 070, about 4.
5,000 feet, QH 1014.
That should do us.
75,000 feet.
Execute. There you are. So what I've done there is just create a little base waypoint to kind of see where we are. So we're very high for a straight-in approach to like an 8-mile final, but we're not going to get that because we're still at 100. Very busy here. So there'll be some delayed vectors.
Easy 694 Bravo.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, turn left at 090 degrees.
Left heading 090 degrees, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So instead of putting us in a hold, he's just putting us on delayed vectors. And that's one way controllers deal with huge amounts of traffic. It's the same as us holding, essentially. Does increase their workload, but if they can manage it, no problem at all. This guy sounds like he's also on the ball.
Right, heading 295, descend at 3,000 feet and report established on the glide path, easy 803.
I don't need 05, it's super late to the party, we're all here. Just delayed vectors, flight level 100.
3,000 feet, speed 180 knots.
Okay,
Say
good.
again, please, GB 164.
GB Airways 164, heading 210 degrees, descend to altitude 3,000 feet, QH 1014.
Laura says never enough too many things on the overhead panel. I'm always like, why would you ever want that off? Well, it is an overhead panel straight from, well, 60 years ago, essentially. But I mean, most of it we don't ever use, so it's the system's working fine. And in flight, very seldom have to change anything, usually wing anti-ice only. Lovely time for this flight as well.
Eurowings, Jumac Alpha standing by for further climb.
Alitalia 2 to go.
Uh-oh, Italian down.
Eurowings 3 Mike Alpha, Scottish 121325.
Speedbird Gaming, you flying an ILS? Yes, we vectors for an ILS approach.
Scottish, say again the frequency, Eurowings, Jumac Alpha.
Eurowings 3 Mike Alpha, 121325.
There she all is.
121325, Eurowings, Jumac Alpha, thanks. Aberdeen radar scanning in 45 with you, flight level 120.
014, turn right.
So there's the Aberdeen NDB. Locked.
Zap 321, turn right 175, descend to altitude 4,000 feet,
So
QH
busy.
1014.
Right, 175, QH 1014, can you just repeat the altitude please? Zap 321.
Spence Bounce just went to London Controller's YouTube page. He's not streaming, he's on Twitch. He's on Twitch.
Zap 321.
Hamburg,
Joe Stone, if it ain't broken, don't
contact
fix it.
tower,
Absolutely,
18.1.
it works. It's an old designer system, of course, and yes, the Airbus 78, 350.
Approach, good evening.
I think are nicer workplaces.
4,000 feet.
0 degrees.
Please say again for GB 164.
Super busy.
I really need you to start listening to me, please. Turn
Oh,
right and then
I don't think that was their
30
fault.
degrees.
I think he got stepped on.
Right, heading 300, sorry, I couldn't hear because there was 2 people at once.
Absolutely.
18 Bravo X.
So that's why I've got the alerts off.
Post turn. Alpaca 18 Bravo X, turn right to then 215.
Heading 215 degrees, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. I know he said X-ray, but
115.
Left heading
and I should have
115,
said confirmed call sign, 18 Bravo Zulu, but
Go ahead,
he's flat out. He's flat out. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt there, but I should not have done that. I should not have done that. I should have confirmed.
Easy
It's me.
803 established.
Easy 803, contact tower 118.1, reduce speed to 160 until 4.
The aircraft went around as well.
Tower 118.1.
The thing is, this poor controller,
Thanks, bye-bye.
there's no published holds
One
here.
Bravo Zulu, turn rated in 225, descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1014.
Riding 225 degrees, descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1024, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So 225, 5,000 feet set, vertical speeds, 700 feet, set QNH 1024. We expect it. Forgot to preset it. Did he say 1024?
Alpha Aberdeen radar, good afternoon, Roger, descend to flight level 100.
Pretty sure it's 1014. It's what, did he say 1024?
Is that 321, speed 180?
It is 1014.
Speed 180 is at 321.
Let's just go level change actually.
That
Right, 1014 set, 9,800.
Right, 245 is at 321.
5,000 feet, stand by
Alpaca
to
1 Bravo
descent.
Zulu, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
I said 4,000 feet, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So 4,000 feet set.
Aberdeen 45,
Yeah, 1014. Now again,
6,000 feet, QNH
straight away,
1014.
I'd confirm with ATC, confirm QNH, however, to keep the workload down for him, I know it's 1014 because I've got the metal right in front of me. Maybe I just misheard it. Maybe I misheard it.
Aberdeen radar, good afternoon, descend flight level 90.
But yeah, absolutely should confirm with ATC.
Easy 2-8 echo if you would.
Yeah, for some reason there was a little top of descent bug was just there. It's just disappeared now. Now I don't know where we're going to be. Are we going straight in from here?
Okay, globe,
Need to be a bit careful here, because if we're getting a straight in, it might be a little bit high.
005.
Again, we can do what we can to fix it.
Is that 321 descend to altitude 3,000 feet?
3,000 feet at 321.
If he is, I'm going to have to quickly get the
Bravo
flaps up.
Zulu, speed 180 knots.
180 knots, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So that's very early for that speed, but we'll comply with it. He's going to have to go flap 1. So there's the up speed, below 250 knots, so we'll select flap 1, and we'll bug 187. We'll have to go to flap 2.
165.
Guys, are you hearing me okay? I think I'm having issues with my headset, but I think it's my end. I'm getting a lot of crackling and stuff in my headset. I don't think you can hear it. So there's flap 2. That's flap 2 is really useful, so you can actually fly 180 knots without going flap 5. Similarly, we'll probably get a straight in. It won't be the first time that we jump the queue, but we can quickly get the aircraft configured if we're getting a straight in here. You all saw my how to recover from a glide slope above. You can hear you fine. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think my headset, I've had it for it's done well, but it's just beginning to play up here. I've got a lot of crackling feedback on it at the moment.
Right, free, correction right now.
But, it's only what I could hear.
Contact 3,000, correction passing 1,000.
So there's flap 2, 180 knots. The aircraft's going to start descending a little bit quicker.
Aberdeen, hello. Banana to Yankee with flight level 120, speed 220.
Alpaca, correction 090 Yankee, Aberdeen, good afternoon, descend flight level 110.
Descending flight level 110.
That 321 turn rated in 015 when localized established in runway 34 descend glide path.
So I think someone's just been cleared on the approach, so I'm not going to go straight in. So I'll keep it as it is, flap 2 descending without the speed brake. See what happens next.
Whether the speed restriction 220 knots is still
Who's calling?
EV164.
EV164, you were given 160 and
John's time to smash out a new rig and peripherals. Well, you guys very generously
Aberdeen departure, very good evening.
all contributed to getting my new rig, which I'll do at the end of the year, but I'll smash that get a new headset as well. Again, the generosity you guys showed is crazy. There's our Alpaca Airways livery. I haven't done any external shots today. Too busy in the flight deck, where we should be, to be fair. There's the aircraft ahead of us, look. Oh no, he can't be on the approach, look, he's way above us. He's on delayed vectors, I think.
28 Alpha, turn rated at 035.
Right, 035.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
And send 3,000 feet, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. We're going through the localizer.
You shouldn't be.
Okay, thanks. Right, based on that information, I'm going to go flap 5 and get the speed brake out.
When established localizer, descend glide path.
So he says he shouldn't be going for the localizer.
18 Bravo Zulu left, correction rated in 325 when established localizer 34 descend glide path.
right 325 degrees, once established on the localizer 7 of the glide path, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So, recovery from high above on the approach. Doing it for real here. I wasn't expecting that, but there we go. Glide slope's already alive, not an issue whatsoever. So, localizers, correct sensing. Now we can arm approach. So, for lock initially, it's going to be very tight. We might just slightly go through the localizer. That's why I questioned it with him. Am I going through the localizer for my descent planning? So, keep the speed brake out.
Turn left at 2905.
And I'm going to go flap 10 now. And 180 knots is our speed. That should work out quite nicely. Still got the speed brake out. I'll wait until 1 dot. We'll be grand.
Sorry, did you call me?
Easy 4 Papa Delta, firm, turn right.
So flap 10, 180 knots, speed brake, really nice configuration for recovering from the glide slope. We're in 1 dot now, so we can arm approach. You clear to descend on the glide slope. Why is it called control wheel steering pitch? Bug, ZIBO, bug. Level change. Let me just deselect that. What was... That's... Right, anyway, got it back in. Glide slope capture and localizer capture ready, so bug the flap 10 speed, stow the speed brake. And we're heading... 340 degrees. Oh, sorry, no, 180 knots. Jumping the gun there. But time anti-ice on as well. This is where the workload really increases.
Right, 200 now, 84.
Should do that before entering icing conditions as well. That was a bit late.
160 to 4.
There you go.
18.1, so 321.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, speed 160 knots, maintain till 4 DME.
160 till 4, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. So there's 167 knots. Now, there's no traffic ahead of me here.
040 degrees, 93 Yankee.
Oh, yes there is, definitely.
Global LA.
Why is he not coming with my TCAS? Get down, flap 15. It's going to be tight here. Landing checklist to flaps. Start switch is continuous. We turn engine anti-ice off. Recon check, speed brake, arm green light, landing gear down, 3 green, auto brake is set to max, and he wants 160 till 4, so I can't slow down any more than this, but it's pretty tight here. Why is he not coming up on TCAS? I know why, because I've deselected traffic. That's super go around territory. I'm not going to do 160 till 4, otherwise we're going around. It's already within 1,000 feet.
Good evening, Logan, 36 Tango,
there's Amy.
4,000 feet to 4 flight.
This is going to be tight, very, very tight.
18 Bravo Zulu, tower 18.1.
18.1, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, good luck, mate. He's super busy. We'll see what Tower says. Tower Aberdeen, hello Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, ILS 346 miles, 160 till 4.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, Aberdeen Tower, hello, continue approach 34, number 2.
Continue approach, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Right, so when they're on a 3-degree ILS, it's within 1,000 feet, it's super, super tight. We didn't actually brief the missed approach feature, as you can point. Nice and simple, climb straight ahead 3,000, then as directed. So we could do with that one. I'm going to carry on configuring here. Flap 25 initially, 162 knots is the maximum speed for flap 40.
Clear line 34. Clear land runway 34 is at 321.
And there's 162 selecting flap 40.
And
And flaps we have 40-40 green light, just waiting for our landing clearance.
Aberdeen radar 119.050.
No holes though, got reasonably straight in here, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be tight. So landing performance, depending on where he goes, we'll plan to vacate first left onto 0523, but it's... place your bets, guys, what do you reckon?
Aberdeen Tower Condition, speedbird 41 Juliet with you in sequence, Mike 1.
1,000 feet, stabilized, approach out.
Checks. Disconnecting. Autopilot, auto throttle. So in my airplane, I'm hand flying now. So I have to go around, I'll have to add thrust manually. That's the only difference with the auto throttle disconnected. You won't get go around thrust.
Direct to... Oh, sorry, stop out.
So keep descending. A bit of high terrain here. The other guy is just over the threshold now. But I feel a little toga coming. Don't forget manage speed, said Lauren. Unbelievable.
Optics.
Yeah, that 160 till 4 really hurt us. We should have got minimum approach speed. But then obviously has a knock-on effect on the traffic behind us, so ATC has to manage all of that. Right, 500 continue, fully
So again,
stabilised.
Steven 98 extra.
Oh, is he logged off? Oh, he's just vacated, look at that.
18 Bravo Zulu with 02 degrees 6 knots from 34 clear left.
Alright, 3-4 cleared to land, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Can we vacate 0523?
If you can make it, yes.
I'll try. Continue. Right, I'll show you how to stop quickly.
9 at 8 X-ray after departure 3-4, right turn direct to odd mix, Oscar Delta Mike.
Check, close, hold the attitude.
Bottom is 3-4 right turn direct to odd mix.
Touchdown point though. Right, great landing, speed brakes up, reverses. Air green, max versus, max braking.
Line up 3-4,
well, 100 knots. 80 knots. That's honestly, guys, if I use max manual braking, that's how quickly you can stop this aircraft. Except I've just kicked the brakes down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aberdeen. Amazing. No problem for us. Cook the brakes though. Right, slow reverses. Not bad. I always got a butter out of it. But guys, honestly, the ZIBO performance with max manual braking, brilliant. It's how it would be in the real aircraft. The aircraft, if you need to stop, it will stop. And on a dry runway, the performance is excellent. The brakes, though, yeah, very hot right now. But it's mostly to help ATCL. That's why I did that. I wouldn't do that in real life.
Alpaca 1 Bravo Zulu, I am surprised. Cut around 121.72.
121.7, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu. Anything to help out. Bye. Jeez. Right, 1217. Let's contact crowds. Brilliant.
Aberdeen Ground, good evening. Shuttle 19 and Mike info hotel.
Just gonna hold short of Delta here. I still need to do the cleanup, guys. Passengers reinstalling false teeth, yes. But guys, I've stopped an aircraft in 1200 metres, been done. Just get here with ground. I'm just going to hold short here because I'm not sure which apron it was to taxi on. Ground, hello, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, vacated 1634, and we're just on the Delta taxiway at Mike.
Shuttle 19 Mike, read back, correct, break, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, say again.
We just vacated runway 1634 on the Delta taxiway.
Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, roger, continue taxi stand 13 via Delta.
13 via Delta, Alpaca 18 Bravo Zulu, thank you. Right, there we are, straight line. That was the awesome, just these overload events that VATSIM UK host. Absolutely awesome. I hope you enjoyed it as well, guys.
Skyways 140, roger, stand by and then your flight plan.
There we go, taxi and music coming in. Perfect. So, yeah, we stopped there. What was the actual distance we stopped in? So that runway is 1900 metres. We stopped at around 1400, 1500 metres. Well within the performance of the aircraft. I went max manual braking at around 110, 120 knots. So it was pretty heavy, but just to show you that the stopping performance of this aircraft is actually very, very impressive. However, those brakes would be very hot now. That would cause issues on quick turnarounds. So you'd want you know, turnaround issues, you know, brake cooling, I'm reckoning in the region of 45 minutes to an hour. With that sort of braking force, but I have had situations where the landing performance has required max auto. I haven't had it where it's required max manual. I think I'm going to have to find another stand, guys. Yeah, someone's just spawned there. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll disconnect and go off that way. I'll just tell the controller.
Stand 10 via Mike and Delta. 10 Mike and Delta, is that 321?
It's so busy. Look, we've got aircraft on top of each other everywhere. What's this stand here? I'll go stand 15. Look, there's no one on there between the Ryanair and the Easy. There's people everywhere. Look, is it a little 146? Isn't he? He's got his new update there. But yeah, the stopping performance of this aircraft is absolutely phenomenal. I've landed on runways where the performance has required max auto brake, and you know, you quickly have to turn it off. You're like, oh my goodness me, that is really aggressive. And don't forget the landing distance is a factor as well. and including a dry runway now with the landing performance stickers. So yeah, look, I've just logged off VATSIM here. So yeah, what you get when you go max manual braking in the ZIBO mod is very close to what you get in the real aircraft with max manual braking, which is really cool. Right, oh, coming in way too fast. Whoa. So I was a bit premature logging off there. It's just super busy, and we've already done everything there. But the ATC was phenomenal as always. Right, anyway, parking brake is set, 2 blues, 1 red. Just before we do everything else, do the rest of the taxi and flow here. Trim we'd reset as well. Flight directors are 3-1. Wasting fuel here. My star switch is off. That should go to steady. And probe heat off as well. Right, anyway, everyone's happy now. There we are. First ever time landing in Aberdeen there. Excellent. Afava, any external method of cooling? Just releasing the parking brakes after the chocks have been set. There's as much as you can do. I think on other aircraft like Concorde had brake fans, and the Airbus has brake fans, but I know some of them they add additional cooling features, but no need to have anything in the aircraft there. Now I won't connect the ground power because we can do replays. Anti-collision light can come off, 20% below N2, and there she is. Oh, there we are. There was a bit of not a rush taxiing, but there's a lot going on there, super busy, so that's why I left half of the flow incomplete there. Anyway, what a lovely flight that was. Excellent all round. I do like these overload events. Not that ATC was overloaded at all, just a slight delayed vector straight in there. I wasn't quite expecting that, but yeah, it was really nice. ZIBO mod worked pretty much flawlessly. There was a few little FMC graphical errors, but I'll discuss some of those with ZIBO, but flying very nicely, 348.2. Ben Matthews said, awesome stream, Captain, thank you very much. John Padfield, yes, the Airbus has brake fans and also the ECAM to lower gear in flight. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that is actually a way of cooling brakes, is to lower the gear in flight if you need to, and also to put out a wheel well fire. Not ideal if you've got one of those though. It'll be the least of my worries, is trying to cool the brakes. Lauren says they're getting really good at reducing holding at the overload events too. They used to be way more stressful. Really nicely done. Approach controller, you can see, was getting a little busy there, but he handled it well. So awesome. Jamie did a great job, London controller, getting us into,
50,
which is pretty cool.
40, 30.
Thank you very much,
20,
Nature Flops, for the £5 donation.
Can the passenger seated in 1C please pass my bottle of Buckfast back down the aisle? Please.
Thanks a lot, Nature Flops, for the £5 donation. Yes, it's actually a method we use. We brake very hard after landing, and then we tell all the passengers to remain seated, and then we quickly jump out the flight deck and see what's rolled right to the front of the aircraft near the L1 and R1 door. You know, pick up some goodies, phones, iPads, a few pennies, sweets. I'm joking, of course. Thank you very much, Nature Flops there. But as I mentioned on the taxi in there, landing performance, that was actually a really nice demonstration to show you off not only how good the ZIBO mod 737 is, but how close the landing performance when required you can get it in the plane. That braking I used was max manual braking. Doesn't happen that often, but when you need it, the aircraft and the stopping performance on a dry runway in particular is excellent. It really is good, regardless if they're steel or carbon brakes. There, very, very cool. G-Man Harmon Lip said my glasses went from economy to first class. Brilliant. Is there a way of checking the brake cooling? Now, there is an option from Boeing to have the brake cooling option in the system display page. In fact, I don't think I have that model. No, I have it like my operator here, but let's have a little look. Why, thank you, ZIBO. Landing rate excellent. Approach rating? Approach rating? Oh, this is some stuff you cannot teach, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear. Right, let's go here to settings. I just want to show you again. Let's go to settings. Where is it? Oh dear. I think there's the option to have the brake cooling here, but if you don't have that option, we have lookup tables in the FCOM. So we look up the landing weight, the outside air temperature, the approach speeds, and with that information we work out how many pounds, million pounds of energy the brakes consumed, essentially, how long the taxi in, and then it tells you how long you have to get the brakes to cool to the minimum required. Now I can't remember here whilst thinking what page it's under. No, it's not hardware. No, display variants, that's what I want. Systems, it's going to take me ages to find this. It's probably staring me in the face. No, systems. No. Displays. Can't be under displays, can it? Oh yeah, it could be. Ah, there we are, yes. See what the temperature is if it's showed it. Now, I'm not... Is that... we don't have this system on the... on ours there. So there must be... Is that 1200 degrees? If that's the case, they'd be probably melting the fuse plugs. 1200. Not sure what that figure is. It could be Fahrenheit, I don't know. But yeah, they would be hot, not that hot. I'll turn it off, scared. But yeah, brake cooling would be something we need to look out for on a tight turnaround for sure. But yeah, you gotta stop. But I did that to help ATC out there. Awesome. So we'll call that a day. We'll turn down the background music here and cue the funky replay music. There we go. Outstanding choice of music, sir. Right, 3 hours. Excellent. Another lovely stream. Right, let's... Oh, not very good on my replay controls today. Let's have a look at that landing there. Went for a little bit of a butter, but I also wanted to make sure I could stop in time as well. Let's turn this music down here. Definitely. That's better. Right, let's have a look at that. Oh my goodness me. Let's do it again. There we are, check, close, and there was a little bit of a rudder correction, then I kind of overcorrected a little bit there, and I just got it down, and then whoop, it was hard on the brakes now. And you see the rate of deceleration, yeah, 190, 80, that's, yeah, so close to what it would be with max manual braking. Then I was like, yeah, I was assured that we'd make the exit there, so really cool. Let's have a look at the point from where we actually vacated. This is what we were talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane 11. Here, X-Plane 11 is leaps and bounds ahead with how it feels with the blade element theory. The way the aircraft handles in slow flight, the flare and the pitch behaviour is so good. So there's the check, a little bit of left rudder to compensate, and then just put it down. Left gear first, not a problem. There's the nose gear, and now I'm braking. You can see its stance, look, the weight on the nose wheel when you're braking heavily. That's so cool. Stop braking, just look at the oleo extend, retract. It's a little bit late. Going to idle reverse. Can you hear me? Excellent. My added thrust about stowing reverses. This is something you can't do in real life. Awesome, wasn't it? Very, very cool. Let's do one view from the tower. Oh, maybe not. We need to clean the windows here at Aberdeen's control tower. It's not something you see every day. There we are. Can't track it though, unfortunately. Look. No wonder you said I don't think you'd make that exit. Look at the distance there. The landing. The actual distance I stopped in, probably 1,000 meters or so. Very cool. Amazing. Very, 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 very good. Right, guys, well, as ever, thank you to everyone that's tuned in for another Flight Deck Sim live stream. Great to be back in the ZIBO mod. As I said, version 348.2 seems stable enough. Some few quirks with the FMS, as usual, but definitely fine to get you from A to B as realistically as possible. Very, very nice. To everyone that donated, as ever, thank you for the generosity support shown. To all the members, thank you for the continued support as well. And to all the regular viewers and subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. On your way out, as ever, just smash the thumbs up button. Can we get to 500 likes? That was the target. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Go check out London Controller as well. That was awesome controlling by him. And yeah, if I known a little bit sooner, a little bit more to promote his stream, but go check out his content as well over on Twitch. Guys, I can't believe it. I'm actually done before my dinner's ready. I'm going to go enjoy a nice chill Wednesday, and yeah, very likely next aircraft will I'll get that 146 installed, have a look at the manual, and we'll have some fun flying that aircraft next stream. As ever, stay safe. What do you want, Marina?
It's ready now.
Oh, dinner's ready. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Right, I'll see you guys all soon. Have a lovely Wednesday evening. Stay safe and good evening to you all. Bye bye for now.